Ready, big? With me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Washington Football Report Live. Or, as we normally do here, welcome all my fellow Washington brethren and sister. I am your man and resident Washington football team fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Washington Football Report Live. So, as I posted on socials, it's a celebration tonight. It's been 4 or 5 long months of talk, speculation, projections. What are we going to do here? What are we going to do there? Who do we draft here? Who do we draft there? Who's going to start here? Who's going to start there? Will this guy be back in time for camp? All of that can finally be put to rest. Football is here. Yes. Yes. Football is here. Training camp has started. Let's go ahead and change this real quick. And let's begin this process. All right. This feels so good. And it's almost like a celebration as we begin this journey. It's almost like a celebration. This will be the last night we celebrate 2020. Okay. Yeah, we won the division. The champs are here. The champs are here. We're not talking about that no more. Now that we're at camp for 2021, 2020 is behind us in the rearview mirror. And now we didn't win the Super Bowl. It's not like we're the Buccaneers and this is the last time we get to celebrate the chip that we just won. We just won the division at 7-9. So I don't want to talk about that anymore. I want to talk about this upcoming season and this brand new journey that we're on with competent football people making football decisions. Feels damn good. So we're going to start this night off with the toast. I requested all of you to bring a refreshment. Whatever your beverage of choice was, water, juice, soda, milk's not allowed. We already voted. Milk's not allowed. Wine, beer, alcoholic beverage, whatever your choice is, whatever your vice is. You're taking a straight shot. You're going to mix it a little bit. Whatever it is, I asked you to bring it to the celebration. I've got mine. Do you have yours? I'm going to make a toast. All right. Here's to health, Washington football team wealth, and prosperity in the 2021 season. May this season be even more fruitful than the last. And may we be singing the praises of Ron Rivera and company at season's end. To Ron's plan, and a successful 2021, whatever that may look like for you. It may look like something different for all of us, but to a successful 2021 campaign. Cheers. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody's doing well. I'm here early because I'm going on vacation. This will be the last vacation I probably get to take until the end of the season, more likely than not. So we're going to take this final vacation, have some fun, and then we're going to come back and we're going to hit the ground running. You know how we do it here on the LouieTeeNetwork. You're going to get wall-to-wall coverage of training camp, daily updates, you name it. We're going to watch these preseason games. Again, if you are not a member of the Mob Squad, you should go ahead and make that happen. Go ahead and grab you some merch while you're at it. But we are going to be watching those preseason games together in the Mob Squad. And so that's when we'll start revving it up. I may even do some film breakdown. I don't think I'm going to get into too much. It's the preseason. Everything's kind of vanilla. I'll take a look at the film. If I see some plays that I find interesting or some things they've done that I see that are interesting that I think they may be able to carry over into the regular season, I may pull a few clips. highly unlikely. They're not going to show anything. They're not looking to give anybody the upper hand before the regular season starts. So more likely than not, we won't see anything but vanilla plays and looking to just go out execute teams on their vanilla stuff. But that's around the corner on the horizon. Once we get that Hall of Fame game out of the way, then everybody gets to have their turn on these preseason games. Remember, there are only 3 of them, so we don't get the customary nobody's really playing in the first game, and we don't probably get the customary nobody's playing in the third game. I don't know how they're going to play it. This is the first year we've had 3 preseason games, so I surmise we're going to see a lot more of the starters in the first preseason game. Not too many. I'm not saying that they're going to go crazy and play a half, but normally it's one drive for the guys, the good guys. One drive for the starters, and then that's it in the first game. The second game, you may get a quarter, and then the third game is when you get a whole half. A lot of times, they've got to expedite that process now. So you may get a full quarter in game 1, you may get a full half in game 2, and you may not get anybody in game 3, or they may go 2 possessions in the first game, you get a full quarter, and in that third game, they may use it as the dress rehearsal. I think the new dress rehearsal will be the second game, but who knows? Maybe the dress rehearsal will remain the third game. We'll see. I can't wait to see what they do with that as well. I want to take care of a little bit of house cleaning before we get to tonight's show and get to all of the festivities tonight. We're going to talk about the 5 keys to success for Washington this season. If they want to have a successful 2021 season, we're going to give you my 5 keys to them having a successful season. Before we do that, though, I want to first notify you. Let's do some house cleaning. So first things first. Ron's Plans tees. As you can see there, they're back like cook crack. I had so many people requesting the t-shirts that didn't get them the first time around. I decided to run them back. So the Ron's Plans t-shirts are back on the site. They are back available down in the description of this video and every video that I do. You will find a link to the print champs. There you can shop all Louie T merch. There you will find the Ron's Plans t-shirts back on the site, as well as the Mob Squad merch, hats, shirts. So go ahead, make sure that you're supporting the Louie T Network. That is the best way that you can support the brand, is by buying merch. And so show off and show out, okay? If you're going to a game, what better way to go to a game than rocking a Ron's Plan shirt or a Mob Squad shirt or a Mob Squad hat? So guys, cop the merch. Ron's Plan shirt is back like cook crack. Next bit of house cleaning. So Washington today released all of their various lists, and you get this at the very beginning of camp. You have guys that don't show up. You have guys that got cut / waived. You have guys that are on this list, on that list, on this list, on that list. So I'm going to bring all of that together for you here tonight and give you all of the different lists that exist and all of the players that are currently on those lists for the Washington football team. So the first big piece of news is the reserve COVID-19 list, okay? The reserved COVID-19 list that has one player on it, meaning that player either has COVID or was around someone in close contact with someone that had COVID, and that is tackle Cornelius Lucas. Now, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, I don't know if you follow Cornelius Lucas on socials. I do not, but I follow someone that follows Cornelius Lucas on socials. So that's generally how I get all my information. I don't follow any of these players, more likely than not, maybe a couple of them, but I don't follow a lot of these guys. But I follow someone that does follow them. So when they get the information and they disseminate it, I get the information. So Cornelius Lucas recently just had his 30th birthday party, had a nice cake, a big $30 bill with his face on it. It was a cool cake. I gather, okay, I'm assuming, and I could be wrong here. You know what they say about making assumptions, but I'm assuming that's how his ass got COVID, or that's how he ended up in close contact with somebody that had COVID. He had a big ass party with a bunch of family and friends because everybody thinks that COVID's over. that the pandemic is done and you can just go out and do whatever the hell you want to do all willy-nilly. And so that's probably how his ass got COVID. Anyway, that's none of my business. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday to Cornelius Lucas. Get well soon. He's on the reserve COVID-19 list to start camp. And the biggest takeaway from that is the fact that now that opens the door, even if it's ever so slight. That opens the door for a Samuel Cosme or a Sadiq Charles or anybody else that's looking to have an opportunity to start at tackle. That opens the door. If Cornelius Lucas was going to hold them off, the best way to do that is to not let them get any reps with the first team. Well, he started off camp on the wrong foot, and he's going to end up being in the same position he was in Chicago, on the bench behind Charles Leno Jr. Again, he had a chance to start. I'm not saying this is the end all be all. He may come back. Samuel Cosme may struggle early on in camp. As soon as Cornelius Lucas comes back, they insert him in the tackle, and he hits the ground running. But if Samuel Cosme goes in there and he shows well, and he shows up like, hey, coach, I'm back. They'll be like, okay, yeah, you stand on the side. We'll get you in with the second team. That could be the situation, and he may not get his spot back. You know, the NFL is all about opportunity. And if Samuel Cosme takes advantage of this opportunity, Cornelius Lucas could have made a big-time mistake having that party. And again, it may not be the party. I could be wrong, but I surmise, I'm drawing an inference here, that party was probably what did him in. Either way, I don't know how long he's going to be on this list, but that's how he's going to start out camp. The next big list is the Pup List. And you could argue that this is the biggest list. But the real question isn't, all right, who's on the Pup List? Is how long is this guy going to be on the Pup List? What is the severity of the injury that has this particular player on the Pup List? That's probably the bigger question, because anybody can start on the Pup List. You know, it's not mandatory that you stay on the Pup List until, 6 weeks into the season. So you could be on the Pup List today and be removed from it 3 days from now. However, we got 2 players on the Pup List. Physically unable to perform list for those of you keeping score at home. Okay. Wide receiver Curtis Samuel. I told y'all already, never ever trust a man with 2 first names. I ain't gonna keep telling y'all the same shit over and over again. So he's on the Pup List. Remember, he had a groin injury at OTAs. He wasn't able to work. The first OTAs, he was out there running around. The second set of OTAs, he was not able to participate. He was off on the side field. Then he wasn't even at the practice field, and he was getting treatment. So it's lingering. Again, rather be safe than sorry. It's the preseason. It's camp. You're not worried about guys now. You're worried about them come September 12th. That's when it's important. So he's on the Pup List to start. Don't know the severity of the injury. That's, to me, the biggest question. We'll find that out, I guess, at a later date and time. And cornerback Greg Stroman. I didn't even know that Greg was still hanging on by a thread. He keeps holding on. I thought Greg was gone, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought Greg was gone, but I knew Greg was still here because somebody brought his name up when we talked about punt return. They said, hey, we still got Greg Stroman. I'm like, do we? I had to go check. And sure enough, Greg was still hanging on. But Greg starting out on the Pup List is not a good look for him. It's already a deep cornerback group as is. Greg's probably on the outside looking in anyway, probably not going to make the squad, but I don't like to discount anybody because, as we know, the summer is long, the summer is hot, and anything can happen, and it can open up an opportunity for another player. So Greg Stroman starts out on the Pup List. That is not a good look for a guy that was already on the outside looking in, heading into camp. The NFI list, which is non-football injury. We've got 2 NFI lists, okay? Non-football injury list, and then we've got non-football illness list. We'll start with the non-football injury list. This is the list I thought the Texans or the NFL was going to put Deshaun Watson on, which is the list that stops you from playing football, even though you don't have any football injury-related situations going on. You can't play football because something else other than an injury is stopping you from playing football. We've got 1 player on that list. That is Devereaux Lawrence. Now, you may remember Devereaux Lawrence from the Chase Young spoof video where he's running out to practice and he's mocking a guy. The guy that he's mocking is Devereaux Lawrence. A good day for practice. Come on, y'all, let's get it. That guy. That's Devereaux Lawrence. He's on the NFI list. Don't know why, but he is on the NFI list to start. Non-football injury list. Now, the non-football illness list, which is something totally different. We got 2 players on that list. Safety Deshazer Everett and defensive tackle Tim Settle. What this list says to me, the non-football illness list says, hey, I don't have COVID, but I got some shit going on. And coaching staff is like, okay, keep your ass at home. Okay, till you're fine, you're healthy. How about this? We'll just go with the COVID restrictions methodology. You just stay away from us for about a good 10 days, and then we'll go from there. When were you having the symptoms? You said you started having this 4 days ago. Stay home another 6 days, and then you can come to practice. So that's what that sounds like to me. They could have a cold. They could have a fever or whatever the case may be. We had this discussion when I had lost my voice temporarily. Like, it sucks to be sick in the summertime. I wasn't sick, but it sucks to be sick or have a cold in the summertime. Sounds like those guys got some things going on, and they're like, hey, better safe than sorry. You stay away from the team. When you feel better, that's when you come to work. The next list is reserved did not report list. So translation, these are the guys that are either just slightly tardy. Okay, maybe they showed up late, but more likely than not, these are the guys that are going to ultimately tell the coaching staff, hey, I quit. I retired. Or they're just not going to show up at all, and you just surmise that they quit and retired. Tight end Tyrone Swoops, if you remember him from his Texas days as a quarterback that just ran the football essentially, and he transitioned to a tight end at the NFL level, never has really caught on with any team. He did not report, and guard Najee Torin did not report. More likely than not, these guys probably at the end of their NFL careers, in their minds, they don't want to continue the grind of trying to make a squad, and they're ready to quit and move on with their lives. That's what you get a lot of times this time of the year when you get guys on the did not report or do not report list. Those guys generally have came to the realization that this shit is over. I'm done. I'm not going to keep doing this. And neither one of those guys are going to make the team. Try as hard as they might. The best that either one of them could have done is the practice squad, and even that is probably a long shot for both of those guys, and they probably realize that. Not to shit on anybody's dream. I told you I'm no dream killer, so they decided not to show up. Maybe they'll show up tomorrow. More likely than not, neither one of them are going to show up. Because if you're trying to make a team, trust me, this takes priority over most things in your life. Outside of you having a baby or someone is sick and you got family issues, yeah, those things happen too. Life happens. But if you're trying to make a football team and you're Tyrone Swoops, a guy that's a long shot to begin with, or Najee Torin, you're going to show up on time. So they didn't. That tells me that they're probably done with football. Then you have these final 2 lists. Waived injured list, that's defensive end Jalen Jelks. So he was probably injured when he reported, and they're like, okay, dude, don't worry about it. We're going to go ahead, waive you with an injury settlement, give you a couple of bucks on your way out, and you keep it pushing. And then you're just waived tight end Deion Yelder. Okay, you come to camp, they're like, you know what, dude? We appreciate you, all you did in OTAs. We're going to go in a different direction, though. Thanks for coming. So those are your lists. Those are the players on those respective lists. All the house cleaning has been taken care of now. So without any further ado, let's get to the proceedings this evening. We will jump into my 5 keys to Washington football team's success later in the show. But you guys have super chats. I want to hear from you. So let's do it. Salud. We start tonight off with the first super chat, which is from my guy, Lamarick Anderson. Thank you for the super chat, Lamarick. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Lamarick, writes, man, I am so excited to see what this offense has to offer. Can preseason start already? P.S. Never trust a man with the name Rob U. All love. What I'm not going to let you do is come after my guy, Rob U. Okay? That's my guy. I wish the preseason could start, already as well. But at the same time, I want to let these things develop. I don't want to rush this. So every year I do this thing where I'm like, man, I can't wait for football season to get here. I can't wait. And then it gets there, and then you get halfway through it, and you're like, oh, my God, it's almost over already. I don't want to rush this. I want to savor every moment of this season and every season hereafter. I want to savor these things. Excuse me. Last year, football was almost taken from us. Excuse me. Even if it were for a brief period, even if it were only for a year, it was almost not a thing last year. That, to me, put everything in perspective for me. And I said, I've got to start treasuring these seasons, every single one of them, because you just don't know. So I am going to kind of take all of this in. That's why we're celebrating tonight. We didn't win anything. We're celebrating the offseason coming to a close and the start of the season getting underway with camp. That's what we're celebrating. May seem like tomfoolery to some, may seem like an asinine gesture by others, but to me, this is worth celebrating. So we're going to do exactly that tonight. And I thank you, Lamar Anderson, and everybody else out there who's watching for chopping it up with me all off season long and tonight, and celebrating the start of what we hope is a very successful and prosperous 2021 NFL campaign. I'm not only excited to see the offense, I can't wait to see this defense too. Because I've said this already. If we're going to win and win big, both sides of the ball, all three phases have to come to the party and show up and be consistent. Let's not leave special teams out, because Dustin Hopkins left a lot of points on the scoreboard last year. Okay. He's just as responsible for wins and losses as the other two units on this team. So we don't want to leave him out. But the defense is going to be the catalyst. The offense didn't show up last year, and we still won 7 games. Okay? Still won 7 games. And that was good enough to win the division. That won't be good enough. I can assure you of this. I'm no soothsayer. All right? And I'm no fortune teller. I cannot see the future. But I can guarantee you this. 7 wins will not win the NFC East this year. I'll go out on a limb. I think that's a pretty thick branch. Feel pretty confident stepping out on it. We're going to have to win more games than that this year if we want to win the division. So the defense did everything it could last year to prop this team up. They need help this year. But they've got to be exceptional too. So can't wait to see both of those units on display this year. Thank you for the super chat, Lamar Anderson. Anye Bradley, I want to answer this real quick. How do you join the Mob Squad? Good question. The link is in the description down below. You click on that link. It's going to take you to an app. If you don't have the app downloaded, it's going to take you to whatever your preference is. If you have the what is it? What is it on the iPhone? Like, I don't know what the hell that store is. The Apple Store, I think it's called, right? I guess. It'll take you to the Apple Store to download the Flickr app. If you have an Android, it'll take you to the Google, what is it? I don't know. Whatever store is on your damn phone. Okay. It'll take you to the store where you can download the app. And then you download the app, and then that link that you clicked that took you to the app store to get the app, you click that link, and it'll take you straight to the page that we have our community, the Mob Squad, and then you join there, and become a member of the Mob Squad. We watch all the games together, and this year we're going to watch the preseason games together as well. So looking forward to that. Thank you for that question, Anya Bradley. Got a super chat here from my guy, Door Gunner. Thank you for the super chat, Door Gunner. Greatly appreciate you, Door Gunner. Writes, super pumped for the season. Heading out soon, so keep me up to date on the team. DM me on Twitter when you get a chance. I saw your message. I just haven't had a chance. But when I get settled, it's crazy because I got so many things going on. But when I get settled and I get a chance, I will hit you up. He says, hashtag Ramon the real champ. That's my guy. Don't y'all forget it. He really does appreciate all the love. Y'all been showing Ramon. Let's get it right. Put that sauce on it. A lot of love. And he really does appreciate it. So I know you got to be heading out here shortly. So I enjoyed you here. And you know what it is, man. Always going to keep you abreast of what's going on with the Burgundy and Gold. You ain't even got to ask. You know what time it is, man. But I appreciate you and all that you do, not only for the Louie T Network, but what you do for this country as well, Door Gunner. So thank you so very much. Got another super chat. This next one is from Rob U. Thank you for the super chat, Rob U. Greatly appreciate you, Rob U, who writes, what up, Lou? All love, Lamerick Anderson. You know what it is. It's all love here. We all fam. He says, so glad the team is taking care of their own. Allen and Logan deserve it. What does this mean for Payne? So here's the question. What do they feel about Payne? How do they feel about Payne? What is their perception of him? I've heard from people that are close to the people at Redskin Park. I've heard that they would love to take Payne's talent and insert it into Jonathan Allen's work ethic, or vice versa. Take Jonathan Allen's work ethic and insert it into Daron Payne's body, because Payne is the more talented of the two, but he doesn't have the same motor and drive. Like, how often is it that we see Daron Payne make a play during the course of a game? It's a third down, it's a fourth down, it's a 1st and 10 run, and he blows it up, and you're like, it takes a special individual to make that play. And you see the flashes from him, 3-4 times a game, and you want to know, why don't you see that more often? Like guys like Aaron Donald with supremely gifted talents, they flash on almost every possession. You know that this guy is going to wreck shop if you don't double and triple team him. And Daron Payne, I'm not saying he's Aaron Donald because he doesn't have that level of quickness, but he's got some quicks for his size, and he's got the strength and physicality to be a game wrecker. And there are times where he's invisible. And so if he had the Jonathan Allen motor and work ethic with his talent, you could see Fletcher Cox, type of results where he could have, you look up at the end of the season and he's got 10.5 sacks. And, he's working on double-digit, tackles for loss, and he's a game wrecker. So I know that there are people that really love Daron Payne and what he brings to the table, but they also don't view him as the worker that Jonathan Allen is. And could that be something that they say, you know what? We love him, but we don't have to have him. So I think this is a big season for Daron Payne. I said all of that to say this. I think this is a big season for him. He goes out, he performs at a high level, which we know he's fully capable of. And you could argue he was the best defensive player against the Buccaneers in the playoffs last year. And we could say that about probably 2 or 3 different games last year where you say the best defensive player on the field was Daron Payne. If he goes out and does that consistently this year, and he's one of our best defenders, I don't think there's any way that they don't want him back. I don't see any way that they're looking to find a way to get out of a Daron Payne extension. But if he's just blending in. If he's just one of the guys, I could see a situation where they pick up his 5th-year option just to keep him here another year, but then after that, they let him walk. Or he gets another opportunity to prove that he belongs here. But for me right now, as we sit here on July 27th, 2021, I think the expectation is that they want to re-sign their entire defensive line. That's the goal right now. Until something changes, that's the goal. Will they be able to achieve that goal is another thing. But as of right now, that's the goal. 1 down, 3 to go. So I'm with you. I'm glad they're taking care of their own. Ron talked about that at his press conference today. He addressed the media. They have got to get the audio situation squared away. This has been going on for too long now. I get it. You're out in Richmond. You're not in your comfortable environment where you control all of the different elements. You got to get this shit together, though, man. We can barely hear Ron. We couldn't hear the reporters asking questions. We started out with being able to hear the reporters, but then we couldn't hear Ron. So then they gave Ron the reporter's mic, which you could hear Ron, but you couldn't hear the questions being asked. So you didn't know what the hell he was talking about. They got to get that shit together. But anyway, he talked about needing to take care of their own guys that he felt like were a part of, this culture moving forward that they feel like they can win with moving forward. And we talked about that. Ron was he first got here. He said, I'm not extending anybody. I'm not handing out any contracts to guys that have been here because I don't know any of them. I don't know if they're a part of the problem or the solution. Because remember, I'm here because there was a problem. I'm here because you were 3-13 the year before I got here. So obviously there was a problem here. So is this guy that you think is really good, is he a part of the problem of 3-13, or is he a part of the solution moving forward? So Ron wanted to figure that out. So he wasn't giving out any extensions last year. Well, now he's had a year with these guys. He knows the guys that he trusts, that he feels like can come along for the ride. They're a part of the solution. And he identified those guys. Sheriff is one of them. That's why he franchise tagged him for a second straight year. Obviously, Jonathan Allen is one. That's why he gets the 4-year extension. And Logan Thomas is obviously one. That's why he got the 3-year extension. So this is going to keep happening. I talked about this yesterday, and I talked about it today on both of those videos. This is going to be the norm. Expect this. It feels different. I told you guys earlier, a whole new world. It's a whole new world. Feels fantastic. We're not used to this. At times, you got to pinch yourself to make sure. Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? Just leave me asleep. Don't wake me up till my dream is complete. Am I dreaming? Nah, you ain't dreaming. This is Ron's plan. Ron's plan. We on the right track, but we got to keep going. We got to keep pressing all the right buttons, and we got to find that damn quarterback. We got to find that damn quarterback. But thank you for the super chat, Rob. You greatly appreciate you. Got another super chat here from Dexter Williams. Thank you for the super chat, Dexter Williams. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, thanks, bro, for everything that you do to keep us posted. Feels good. Feels good. Feels good. My Louie T voice. Just got my Ron's Plan shirt. Man, that is awesome. I'm so glad you got your shirt. Hopefully you enjoy your shirt. You love your shirt. And I know I love this shirt. I wear this shirt everywhere. People get tired of seeing me in my shirt because I always have it on. I'm always repping the LouieTeeNetwork or one of my shirts, and I'm always repping the brand. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. Hopefully you'll be repping the Ron's Plan shirt wherever you go. I really do appreciate you, and I thank you guys for continuing to support the LouieTeeNetwork. Again, this doesn't work without you guys, so thank you so much for the support. Got another super chat. This one is from Lamarick Anderson. Thank you for doubling up. Double up. First super chat of the night and the first to double up on the night. So thank you so much, Lamarick Anderson, greatly appreciate you. My guy, LA, writes, well, damn, Dwayne would be on the Pup List, physically unable to perform, avoiding a punch, and the NFI for getting knocked the bleep out. Yeah, I don't know if you can cross-reference lists. I don't know if you can be on multiple lists. I think you got to pick a list and stay on that list. So I think he probably would have started out on the NFI list, non-football injury list, if there were really an issue, like if she would have broken his jaw or something. But he claims his tooth did not get knocked out, whatever the case may be. Who cares? He's not on his team anymore. I don't give a shit. We had some comic relief at his expense. I hope his situation has improved. Again, I don't want to see anything to happen bad to the young man. I wish him nothing but the best. He's got some maturing to do, obviously, and I don't think he's figured it out yet. Hopefully he doesn't, figure it out when it's too late and his career is already over, because this is his last chance. If he flames out in Pittsburgh and he can't put it together there, more than likely that's going to be it for him. But again, that's not our problem anymore. We've washed our hands clean of Dwayne. This time last year, he was all the rage. He was all the conversation amongst us as Washington fans. This year, I could give two shits about what Dwayne Haskins is doing because he's not in the Washington football team uniform. So thank you for that super chat, Lamarick Anderson. Once again, greatly appreciate you. So got a super chat here from my guy, Sean Hawk. What's going on, Hawk? Seems like it's been a very, very long time. My guy, Sean Hawk, writes, what up, Lou? Been a long time. I just said that. I literally said it's been a long time. It's felt like a long time. And I thought you had changed your name to just Hawk because I had seen someone else with just Hawk. So I was like, maybe that's Hawk's new, name that he's going by. But lo and behold, still good old-fashioned classic Sean Hawk. I love it. He says, going to training camp on Thursday and we'll be repping the Ron's Plan T. I'm glad that you got the shirts back up so I can tell people where to get them. Awesome. I can't thank you enough for that advertising. That is awesome. And yes, they are on the site, so you can tell them where to get them if they want them. And I hope a lot of you are out there repping the Ron's Plan shirts and, cop those things, and hopefully they spread like wildfire, man. So they're back up on the site, and definitely tell the masses. If they like, yo, that's a dope shirt, where'd you get it? You let them know where you got it from, man. So I appreciate you for that, Sean Hawk. Really do appreciate you. And I'd love to hear about your experience at camp. We'll be back live next week. I'd love to hear. Any of you go to camp, I'd love to hear about your experiences at camp and what the team looked like in person, what you felt like. Like, they're not going to be padded practices. Ron's already stated that, and I told you guys that they weren't going to be in pads in Richmond. They're going to save that for when they get back to Ashburn. But you can still see team speed. You can still see, what guys look like they stand out above the rest while they're out there running around. So I want to know what you guys see when you're out there. So hopefully a couple of you be reporting live from, the training facility in Richmond. I'd love to hear from some of you, including you, Sean Hawk. Thank you for the super chat. Got another one here from Metaphor. My guy, Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor writes, sup, bruh? So excited about the D. Jamin, Chase, nervous about the O. Will Fitz prove my top 10? We'll see. I don't know, but we're in the whip together. Ron's plan. We are definitely in the whip. Only one way to find out, man, is just to get in the car and drive. We're not going to figure out how to get there. We're not going to get there if we don't get in the car and drive. So we in the whip. The journey starts today. No more gassing up. No more stopping for snacks. We all packed up. We all ready to go. Let's start hitting the road. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for every facet of the team, honestly. I'm even excited to find out who the hell is going to return punts for us. Like, even special teams is a big deal here, because Special teams cost us a game last year. You could argue it cost us multiple games. Specifically, the Seahawks game, where we missed an extra point that forced us to have to go for 2, and then we got in the field goal range. Had he made the extra point, you assume that we wouldn't have to have gone for 2. We would have kicked another extra point, and then we would have been in field goal range to, at worst, tie the game. Who knows if he would have made that kick anyway, but at least you would have been in a position to kick the field goal to tie the game up and possibly send it into overtime. We had all the momentum. The Seahawks were on their heels after taking a commanding 20-0 lead. We had them on their heels scoring 15 unanswered points. Who knows what would have happened if we would have got that game to overtime. Anyway, obviously the muffed punt against Carolina, I want to say that muffed punt came in a 0-0 game. They get a free touchdown, they recover in the end zone, and they never look back. Special teams was harmful last year. So I'm even excited to see more so anxious than excited. I'm more excited about the defense and the offense. I'm a little anxious about special teams, but I want to see what's going on there as well. Like, every facet of this team is important, and I'm anxious to see what all of them look like and what they're going to do at punt returner. You know, who's going to be back on kickoff returns? Even though you don't return a ton of kickoffs anymore, who's back there? I loved when Danny Johnson was back there, but who's going to be back there? You know, I'm dying to see what this offense looks like, whether it's Fitz or it's Taylor Heineke. And Ron said, look, this is going to be a real training camp. It's not like last year. It's not abbreviated. This is going to be a real competition, not like last year when we just gave the job to Dwayne. This is going to be a legitimate camp competition to see who the starting quarterback of this team is going to be. Everybody's going to get equal reps. If that is true, listen to what I'm saying. And you take Ron at face value, and I don't in this situation. But if there is a true competition taking place, I don't see how Taylor Heineke does not win this competition. Let me say that again. If you take Ron, who today said that he's going to divvy up the reps equally, there will be a real competition at quarterback. If you truly believe Ron, take him at face value. I'm rolling with the guy that has 3+ years of experience in this offense, that was on this team a year ago and already has a rapport with half of the skill players that he'll be throwing the football to. Give me that guy in Taylor Heineke. I don't, however, take Ron at face value. They did not sign Ryan Fitzpatrick to a $10 million deal to just sit him on the bench, which, look, $10 million doesn't guarantee you anything. That's starter's money for this team because it's the quarterback that's making by far and away the most money. However, he can be on the bench making $10 million. I would prefer he start out on the bench because that's a role that is common to him. He knows what to do when you say, hey, Fitz, I need you. He knows what to do. Whether it's the first, second, third, or fourth quarter, he knows what to do. He's a trained professional to come in throwing BBs, throwing darts and dimes. That man comes in cold off the bench, ready to go every single time. I can't say the same for Taylor Heineke or Kyle Allen. So I would prefer it to be Taylor Heineke with the first shot, and then if he can't get it done or injury occurs, then you come in with Fitz. But Fitz believes in his mind, this is the first time I'm going in with a legitimate shot to start and be the guy. And they're not, like, unlike last year with the Dolphins, they're not going to just take this shit away from me because there's a guy behind me that they want to see. If I get this job, it's my job. So I'm going to tell you right now, I am, to bring the conversation full circle, I'm nervous. I'm not nervous about the O. You're nervous about the O. I'm not nervous about the O. I mean, I'm anxious about more so the special teams side of things. Who's returning punts? Can Dustin Hopkins get back on track? I'm more anxious and nervous about that than I am offense or defense. Because I told you last year, I actually was impressed with Scott Turner. Contrary to popular belief, I thought he did a hell of a job last year with what he was given. So I figure with more weaponry, with competent quarterback play, which he'll get this year, I'd like to think that he's going to continue to ascend as a play caller. Meanwhile, the defense, with even more weapons added to the arsenal and a second year under their belt in Jack Del Rio's scheme, and with a corner now that they feel comfortable going man-to-man with, which allows Jack to get a little freaky with his play calls and his blitzes and get a little exotic and funky even. I'm like, yo, this defense could be really nasty. I'm looking forward to all of it. All of it. So thank you for the super chat metaphor. Got a super chat from Rob U, my guy Rob U. Double up. Thank you for the super chat. And doubling up, my guy Rob U writes, Fitz equals a big year from Terry and plenty of turnovers. That's the trade-off that we believe. Now, there could be this Fitz renaissance where all of a sudden he has this epiphany, and for 1 year or just late in his career, whatever the case may be, he doesn't turn it over a ton. I remember there was that 1 year with Tony Romo where they ran the football. I think DeMarco Murray led the league in rushing that year. He had like 1,800 yards rushing or whatever. And the Cowboys won 13 games, I believe, 13-3. First, number one seed in the NFC, ultimately lost to the Giants. I want to say it was 2007. And Tony Romo was out of his gourd. Up until that point, I think it was 2007. It might have been 11. I think it was 2007. But I don't know. I think it might have been 11. I think DeMarco Murray was more 11, not 7. So, because at that point, Tony Romo in 2007 wasn't a starter for a very long time. It had to be 11, where they went 13-3. I think they were 13-3, and they had the number one seed in the NFC. They come off the bye, and the Giants go to Dallas and beat them en route to winning the Super Bowl against the Patriots the second time. I think that's the case. Anyway, Romo had this ridiculous season. They're running the hell out of the football. He's not turning it over. He's making smart decisions. Remember, one of his bugaboos was in crucial situations, he was going to throw an interception, or, at some point he was going to do something stupid with the football. And he had that 1 year where it was like 30 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. He took care of the ball, and they won a bunch of football games. Maybe, just maybe, Ryan Fitzpatrick could do that. Highly unlikely. I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe. But it's not out of the realm of possibility. I just always go back to logic. I told you, I'm a practical guy. Things need to make sense for me to make them make sense. You can't tell me the sky is blue. I'm looking at it and it's red, and you keep telling me, no, the sky is blue. I'm like, well, I'm looking at the sky, and the sky was blue yesterday, but it's red right now. For me, with Ryan Fitzpatrick, people keep trying to tell me he's playing the best football of his career in the last 2 years. And I keep looking at the numbers, and I watched all of these games. It's not like I'm just looking at the numbers. I watch these games. And I'm like, yeah, you keep telling me he was this, that, and the third. 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year. For as good as he played last year, 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That was in 6 starts and probably 3 more relief appearances. Okay? You extrapolate that. Let's just double that. That's 26 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. That's good. That's not great. That's way too many interceptions thrown. Period. I've already said, you throw 15 or more interceptions, you're going to be among the league leaders. You throw 15 or more interceptions, you'll be in the top 7 of interceptions tossed that year. Because the good ones in this league, they protect the football. The great ones, they barely give it away. When Aaron Rodgers throws an interception, you're like, what in the hell? Brady will go 9, 10 games, 400 pass attempts before he has a 2-interception game. Same with Rodgers. All of these dudes that are elite, they rarely throw multiple interceptions in the same game, let alone back-to-back weeks. You look up at the end of their season, they've thrown 4 picks the entire year, 32 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's what their stat line looks like. Meanwhile, we got the guy that's throwing 16, 17, 18 picks. That's going to get you beat. So we'll see what happens, man. But I'm with you. Fitz in the lineup, it's going to equal a big year for a lot of guys because he's going to get them the football. There is no doubt about that. He's going to spread it around. Also going to, with that though, comes more likely than not turnovers. So we'll see what happens. But thank you for that super chat, Rob. You got another super chat. This one is from Metaphor. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Metaphor, writes, when we getting the Ramones plan, T, Lou? Oh, he's flattered. But I had this conversation with him already. I said, because he was like, look, man, they love me, man. They love me. I'm like, you're right. They do love you. He's like, so when I'm going to get my own merch? I'm like, hey, slow down there, buddy. Not enough people would invest in a Ramones plan shirt or a Ramones shirt, period. So I had to kill him. I had to slow his roll a bit. You know what I mean? I'd pump your brakes and drive slow, homie. Drive slow, homie. So, every now and again, you got to bring people back to reality. And that was his reality check. But he appreciates you blowing up his ego right now. His head is getting really big. So while I appreciate you, I'm also upset because now I'm going to have to hear this from him later on tonight. So anyway, I digress. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you. Got another super chat. This one is from Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat, Red Wings 01, who writes, Ron expressed his frustrations with players not getting vaxxed. Do you think he's handling it the right way? I don't question their choices, but the NFL has put coaches between a rock and a hard place. So let's have that discussion right now, because Ron was a little vexed about the vaccine. I thought, and me and Condoleezza Perry, we both spoke on this when Ron at the OTAs pretty much put the players on blast and put them in an awkward position to have to answer questions that they shouldn't have had to answer. I thought he handled that situation poorly. However, I thought Ron did the best he could with the situation today, but we knew how Ron felt back in OTAs when he put the players essentially on blast and put them in an awkward position to have to answer questions that I didn't think they should have had to answer. So we already knew where he stood on this. His position hasn't changed. He talked about this, and he was very candid back in June when we were in OTAs. He wanted herd immunity. That's what the league wants. That's what he wants. He wants the players. He keeps talking about they just need more information. And he even said it today. At this point, they should have all the information that they need, but they need more information. It ain't about players needing more information. Guys have made their decision already. They're not getting the vaccine. Now, what I think Ron didn't do a good enough job of doing today was shutting down the notion. And again, he's right in saying this, but as a coach as a face of a franchise, you want to dispel any notion of any potential dissension within your locker room. So I didn't think he did a good enough job of kind of quelling that. You know, don't let that fester. Don't let that come up in the media. Like, shut that down now. I don't even want to talk about that shit. So you shut that down aggressively when it's first asked, and the media gets they get the point and the message that you're trying to send by shutting it down aggressively with the firm tone. Like, look, that's one thing we won't have in this locker room. Everyone's going to respect everybody's opinions. You know, we may not always agree on everything. We may not agree on it, but see, that's not what Ron's trying to promote. Much like the league, he's trying to promote getting this vaccine. And Ron even went as far as to say, look, you know, not only, you know, I can't predict whether we'll have dissension in the locker room and will players, you know, be, you know, at each other's necks because of this, you know, but they also got to realize that it's not only you that you may be costing yourself a paycheck, but, you know, if we can't play a game and we got to forfeit, you're costing everybody a paycheck. And, you know, you put that extra sauce on it too. Like, I know what Ron's doing. Ron's got an agenda here, you know, and I'm not saying that Ron's out here trying to be political. Ron's trying to do what's in the best interest of him and his team, which is get as many players as he can vaccinated. Because if they're vaccinated, it's going to make his job that much easier. And if a situation were to arise, the more players you have vaccinated, the easier it's going to be to circumvent any kind of mishaps or missteps that you have during the course of the season. The more players you don't have vaccinated, it becomes a little bit more dicey. So I know what Ron's trying to do. This has nothing to do with making a political statement. It's more about, look, man, I'm trying to put us in the best position to win games. It's a fine line that you walk, though. You don't want to lose players. You don't want to seem standoffish, and you don't want to force anybody. And Ron did say, you can't force guys to do anything. But you can't say that out of one side of your mouth and then the other side of your mouth, you're like, but they need to make the right decision. Like, you can't have it both ways. Either you're going to give guys the space and freedom to make their own decisions and live with it either way, or you're not. I think he's straddling both sides of the fence right now. He's trying to tightrope, but we know what he wants. He wants these players to get vaccinated. And right now, last time we checked, they were at 63%. They're one of the lower teams in the league. I don't see it getting too much better than that. You know, you may get a few more guys that were on the fence. They get here. They talk to a couple of players that did get vaccinated. They say, hey, look, man, you know, you're doing this for the good of the team and yourself and your family and that and this, that, and the third. And you may get a couple of guys that are able to be convinced. But a lot of these people that don't have the vaccine, that haven't gotten the vaccine, they know what they're doing. They have made a conscious decision to not get it. They are aware that there are variants out there. They don't want the vaccine, and that's fine. So do I think he handled it well? I think he handled it well enough. Could he have handled it better? Yes, I do think he could have handled it better. He handled it much better than he did back in June, where I thought he put the players in an awkward position and left them out to dry. He did not do that this time, but I do think you can kind of see where this could become an issue if he allows it to. I've said this already. This is not a big deal until it becomes a big deal. Now, you don't want to go the Montez Sweat route where you say, I'm not treating COVID until I get COVID. That's not the way to address this. You want to be out in front of this thing, much like they did with Jonathan Allen and Logan Thomas. You want to get out in front of these situations. You don't want to wait till somebody gets COVID and you only got 66% vaccination rate, and now you got to postpone or even cancel a game and forfeit. You want to try to get as many of these guys vaccinated so you lessen the chance of having something like that take place. That said, as I've said last year, and Ron said this himself today, we were one of the best teams in the league at staying COVID-free last year. Now, I've also made this point. We're living in a different world this year as we sit here on July 27th than we were last year this time, when everything basically was shut down and you couldn't do shit. So all there really was you go to practice, you take your ass, and you go back home. That's all there was to do because there wasn't anything open. There was, the whole world, essentially, the U.S. at least, was shut down unless you were living in Florida or Texas, because those are two different countries. Everywhere else was shut down, essentially. So you weren't able to do anything. The world is a lot more open now. So you can go to restaurants. You can go out to the club. You can go out to a bar and have a drink. You can socialize. You can have gatherings of 30 people or more. You couldn't do that last year. So the possibility to get COVID or be in a situation where you get COVID, it's a lot greater this year than it was last year. That said, the guys did a tremendous job. Ron acknowledged that. And I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You don't want to get the vaccine. You know the rules. You know the risks. You know the parameters. You know what's at stake. You're acknowledging that. And if I were Ron, that's how I would address the team. Look, I'm not going to force you. I'm not going to try to force you. You, all of us in this room are grown as men and women. All of us. So us as coaches, we don't have the choice. If we want to work here, we have to get the vaccine. But you players do have a choice. And whatever choice you decide to make, we're going to support you 110%. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I would prefer you get the vaccine. But if you don't want to do that, I'm going to coach you the exact same way as somebody that does have the vaccine. And we're going to come together as a team, and we're going to try to win as many ball games as possible. All that I ask is that you do your part. If you're not vaccinated, you've got to work extra hard, harder than the guy that's vaccinated, to make sure that you keep yourself safe and keep us as your teammates and your family safe. So I'm going to put the onus on you if you're not vaccinated. Don't bring that shit here. Don't put yourself in a position that you jeopardize us here. You made the decision not to get the vaccine. That's fine. I respect your decision. Just make sure you're making the right decisions when you leave this facility. That's all. That's how you address that. I'm going to give you guys the benefit of the doubt because last year you took care of business. Don't make me look like a fool. That's how I would address it. We'll see what happens. Thank you for the super chat. Red Wings 01. Got a super chat here from my guy, Martin Matthews. Thank you for the super chat, Martin Matthews. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Double M, writes, hey, Louie, do you think they keep 4 tight ends? And do you think Seals Jones takes over the number 2 spot? No, I don't think they keep 4 tight ends. I think they keep 3. There's no need to keep 4 tight ends. We don't have 4 tight ends worth keeping on the roster. So I don't think that's something you keep 4 tight ends when you're like, man, if we cut one of these boys loose, somebody's going to scoop him up. And we can't afford to do that. We don't have that situation. We don't have that kind of problem. We barely got 3 tight ends. So no to 4 tight ends. And will Ricky Seals-Jones take over the number 2 spot? Really, that is largely dependent on one thing and one thing only. How good and how fast does their draft pick, John Bates, pick up the offense and get acclimated to the speed, physicality, and all of the things that come with that transition from college to the NFL game? How fast does he pick everything up? Because he's a better talent than Ricky Seals-Jones. He's a more natural talent as a tight end. Ricky Seals-Jones was once a wide receiver. He transitioned to a tight end in the NFL. He still looks like a receiver playing tight end, if you ask me. Just a big receiver playing tight end. John Bates is a legitimate tight end. He's a legitimate 260, 55 pounds or so. He looks the part of a tight end in today's NFL. So I think John Bates is your second tight end. They drafted him to be the number 2 guy. I think Ricky Seals-Jones will be your quintessential number 3. You throw him a bone every now and again. Hopefully he can block. I don't know about Ricky Seals-Jones as a blocker. I think that's probably where he's lacking. When you come from, the receiver position and you transition to tight end, usually that's where you lack, is in the physicality department. So I would guess that he's not the greatest blocker in the world, but he can sure catch the football. And we could use a reliable pass catching tight end as a third option. So I don't see him being number 2. No. Thank you for that super chat, Martin Matthews. Got another super chat. This one is from Red Wings 01 once again. Double up. Thank you for the super chat. Doubling up. Red Wings 01. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Red Wings 01 writes, I think Diami has a shot at surpassing Curtis as the number 2 guy. Curtis's injury has creaked the door open for him and other guys to show their stuff. Diami was going to be a guy that was going to get opportunities regardless. You know what I'm saying? He was a guy that was going to have every opportunity to get snaps. Like, they really like him. They think that this guy is super talented, and they want to give him an opportunity to play ball. So I think that he was a guy that they were going to try to work in anyhow. Now, I've talked about this. Diami was primarily an X at North Carolina. He did not play multiple positions. He didn't play the Z. He didn't jump into the slot. He didn't move around a lot. You knew where you could find him. So there is a learning curve for a guy that hasn't played multiple positions. They may try to bring him along slowly and just teach him X. If that is the case, well, we've got an X already. His name is Terry McLaurin. You may have heard of him. Now the beauty of it is Terry's been working over the last couple of years. Terry's been working not exclusively at X as he did in his rookie season, but more so with the Z and more so the slot. Terry's been moving around a little bit more, making it tougher for defenses to be able to account for him. That said, Terry's still more naturally an X. So it'll be interesting to see how much Diami can process. The more that he can process, the more opportunities he gives himself to be on the field. If he can only digest X right now, then that's going to make it tough to get him on the field in formations where Terry's at X. Obviously, you can't have 2 X's on the field at once. But Terry does move around. So, there are going to be ways creatively to get him on the field. They'll be able to move him around. It's not hard to say, hey, on this play, you're running a corner. Or on this play, you're running a 9. You're running a bang 8 on the backside on this play. Like, it's not hard to tell a guy what he's got and he just go out and do it. But you want him to be comfortable just hearing the play and knowing exactly what every single receiver is supposed to be doing on that play. And that takes time. So, much like I said with John Bates, it's going to really be dependent upon how much he can digest. Remember, last year, that was the whole question about how much can we expect from Antonio Gibson? First-year running back, making the transition from college wide receiver, didn't have a ton of carries in college. This is his first time really playing the running back position primarily. What can we expect from him? We thought we were getting this gadget, jack of all trades, can do everything. You can split him out, this, that, and third. No, they're like, no, we really want him to learn the running back position. The only way he's going to do that is if he just plays running back. We can't ask him to flex out in the slot and do all of these creative things. Maybe they can do that this year, but they couldn't do that last year. He was a rookie. And you heard running backs coach Randy Jordan say, we don't want to overload him. We don't want to overwork him. We don't want to fry his brain. We don't want to overload his memory. His processor can only take but so much work. We don't want to fry it. So same thing with these rookies. No difference. How much can they take? How much can you put on their plate? How much can they digest? We'll see. But they really like Diami. They really, really like him. And, Curtis not being available at the start of camp, it's a big deal. Going to give some other guys opportunities to get some reps that maybe they wouldn't have gotten had you had a healthy Curtis Samuel to start camp. We'll see. Thank you for the super chat and doubling up. Red Wings 0-1. Got another super chat from Rob U. Thank you for another super chat, Rob U. Your third of the night. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Rob U. Writes, William Jackson. He says, Lou, William Jackson was so underrated in Cincy. He has lockdown corner ability. Should be exciting to see him behind this D line. I was thinking about that today as I was doing some of my research for the show, and just what he's going to bring to the table defensively for this team. How good can he really be? I'm doing my positional ranking videos, and all of those will be out this week. I'm done with all of them now. So as I'm out of the office, be on the lookout for those throughout the course of this week. And as I'm going through the cornerback position in particular, I was actually surprised at what his addition to our secondary actually meant. Because I thought to myself, if this were Ronald Darby instead of William Jackson, are we ahead of this team or that team or this team? Are we ranked as high as we ultimately are, in my estimation? Or are we 5 or 6 spots lower on this list? Because honestly, I think the answer is yes. William Jackson III makes that much of a difference in where we rank overall in the league. And then you take it a step further, Jack Del Rio feels so much more confident and comfortable doing things and talking about doing things that he didn't even dream of doing last year. And Ronald Darby was actually good for us, but he didn't know exactly what he could get out of Ronald Darby, and he didn't want to put Ronald Darby in compromising situations because that's what got Ronald Darby in trouble in the first place and in past situations when he was beaten over the top. So you wanted to kind of keep him from those situations, like against Dallas the second time on Thanksgiving when Amari Cooper was cooking him. You want to keep him out of those situations. So William Jackson, we're going to find out how good he is. I think he was really good, but we're going to find out just how good he really was in Cincinnati and how good he really is. Is he underrated? We're going to find out. He's going to get tested. Trust me. He's in a new conference, in a new division. Nobody knows him on this side of the water. He's going to have to prove himself all over again. Hopefully he's up to the challenge. We'll see what happens. I think he's got a chance to really be exciting as well. Thank you for the super chat, Rob. You. Got a super chat here from Clumsy Jedi 26. Thank you for the super chat. Clumsy Jedi 26, who writes, I got all my money on either Taylor Heineke or Kyle Allen to start week 1. Ryan Fitzpatrick is just an insurance policy. I wouldn't put all my money on that. But I understand exactly what you're saying. And that's sort of the point I was trying to make. Now, I wouldn't be as gung-ho because I told you already, I don't trust Ron when he says that this is an open competition and it's going to be up for grabs and it's an equal opportunity position. I don't believe him. When he signed Ryan Fitzpatrick, he signed the guy that he envisioned being the starter of this football team going into week 1. Now, I'm not saying that that can't change because it most certainly could change. If Fitzpatrick is awful and Heineke is without a shadow of a doubt the best quarterback in camp and in the preseason, then he may not have any choice but to start Heineke. However, I don't think Fitzpatrick is going to wet the bed. I don't think he's going to be so awful as to show Ron that I'm not the guy for the job right now. I just don't see that happening. With as much experience he has under his belt and as many systems as he's been in, with that Harvard education. I just think he's going to catch on quickly. He's going to build a rapport with these guys through camp and into the preseason, and he's going to be the starter. I feel like he's going into camp with a leg up on everybody else in terms of standing in the competition, and he's going to have to do a lot in the opposite direction in conjunction with either Kyle Allen or Taylor Heineke absolutely killing it. I mean, murdering it for him to not be the starter, him being Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I surmise that he'll be the starter week 1, he being Ryan Fitzpatrick. And I think Ron is trying to cultivate this mindset of competition, every position, even quarterback. We're going to compete. May the best man win. I don't think that's necessarily. I think he's overcompensating for a mistake that he recognized and has acknowledged he made last year when he crowned Dwayne Haskins the starter, essentially. I think outwardly he's trying to give off the perception that he's going to right a wrong. Like, we're not doing that this year. We're going to have a real competition. And he wants that to kind of trickle down to the rest of the roster. You know, every position, competition, even quarterback. But in his mind, I think he's telling himself it's going to be Fitz. Again, unless Fitz is just awful throughout camp and into the preseason, and Heineke and or Allen are just killing it, they're crushing it, I don't see a way he doesn't start. But I've said this already. If Ron is to be taken at face value, and everything he said today is true, which is it's going to be a real legitimate competition where these quarterbacks are going to get equal amount of reps and they're going to have an opportunity to prove that they should be the starter. If that is the case, Taylor Heineke, to me, has the best chance to win the job. Or Kyle Allen, as you mentioned. Both of those guys have more experience. And Ron, I think Ron likes Kyle Allen more than he likes Taylor Heineke. I think Heineke is all the fans' favorite guy because of what he did last year. So we want to see more. We got just a sliver of an appetizer. We're like, yo, this shit's pretty. Damn. Did you put some cinnamon in this? This is really good. We want more. Ron's like, that's cool, but I've seen Heineke. I've been around him. I like Kyle Allen. That's my guy. You remember what he said about Kyle Allen last year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I think that when it's all said and done, Fitz is going to be the quarterback of this team to start the season off, at least. So thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Let's see if we got any more super chats. We do. From Metaphor, thank you for your third super chat of the night. Thank you for tripling up, Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, perhaps guys get the vax because they're burden of rules. I don't think that's going to change a lot of these guys' mindset. Like the NFL threw down this gauntlet the other day when they put out their policy on how they were going to conduct themselves and how they were going to conduct business this year. And if you were on the fence and you just didn't get the vaccine because you just like, yeah, I just didn't get around to it yet, or, you know, it wasn't a big deal, I've been staying to myself, and then that happens, then you're going to go out and get the vaccine because you weren't against getting the vaccine. You just hadn't gotten it yet. You just like, yeah, I didn't need it. I wasn't in harm's way. I hadn't been doing it. I've been staying out of the way. I've been at the crib chilling with family. They ain't doing nothing neither. So I didn't feel the need to get the vaccine. But like Emmanuel Sanders is a great example of that. Like he wasn't against getting the vaccine. He just was like, yo, I don't need it. I'm not doing anything risky. I'm not going anywhere. I don't need the vaccine. But then the NFL slapped down this policy. It was like, yo, We laying a smackdown on this vaccine. What's good? He was like, I don't want no smoke. I don't want any issues. I'm not trying to be a problem in the locker room. I'm on my last leg in this league. I know what it is. I don't want to give them any reason to cut me. He went and got the vaccine and posted a picture of his vaccine card, of his first shot. As a matter of fact, he got it on my birthday, the 23rd. So there are going to be guys like that. But for the most part, if you haven't gotten your vaccine yet, it's because you don't plan on getting one. So I don't know if the burden of the rules that the NFL has put in place is going to change the minds of some of these players. There are a lot of people that feel like Cole Beasley and like some of those coaches who have resigned from their positions essentially because they refuse to take the vaccine. I'm not getting it under any circumstance. I'm not going to take this vaccine because I don't feel like it's the right thing to do. So I don't see that changing their minds. But you never know. You never, ever know. So we'll see. Martin Matthews, thank you for the super chat. And I think this is your fourth super chat of the night, if I'm not mistaken. Double M, really do appreciate you as always. My guy Martin Matthews writes, hey, Louie, I'm hoping with Cornelius Lucas getting COVID. Well, let's not assume he got COVID. I said he either got COVID or he came in close contact with someone who had COVID and he's got to sit out, just in case. So let's not say he got COVID, but he's on the list. Let's word it this way. With Cornelius Lucas being placed on the COVID-19 list, more players get their shots. I don't think that's going to change. The only way you change someone's mind that was adamant against getting the shot is if somebody close to them has a near-death experience that is like them. Like, it can't be grandma. Well, grandma is someone that is high risk. So while you may say, damn, I watched grandma struggle with that shit and then she passed, it may affect you. You still may not be willing to go get the COVID vaccine because you say, I'm young. Like 99% of the people that get this shit, that are my age, they survive. So I'm good. It's not until you see somebody just like you, your age, healthy, just like you, struggling with the shit. That may be the deal breaker for some. And they say, okay, all right, if he could get it and he's healthy as an ox, just like me, and he can struggle like that, then I need to go get this vaccine. That could be one of those situations, but I don't really see that taking place. So I don't think Cornelius Lucas, either having COVID or being around someone that has COVID is enough to change anybody's mind. Got another super chat. This one is from Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Metaphor writes, Chase QB sack song. Got 99 problems and a chase is one. Yes, someone's name that used to comment was 99 problems, Chase ain't one, I believe. But Chase could be one. If you having sack problems, I feel bad for you, son. You got 99 problems, and that guy Chase Young, he's one. Hit me. You're damn right. We're hoping that that's a problem for a lot of these quarterbacks, especially the ones in the NFC East. But we shall see. Thank you for that super chat, Metaphor. I want to take this quick opportunity to ask all of you out there to subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss a thing, as we're going to amp up and ramp up all of this content. You know how it is when shit gets real, shit gets even realer here on the Louie T Network. So turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing, and also hit that like button if you haven't already done so. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't hurt. hit the like button. That helps this channel grow exponentially. So also, if you're out there, you want to support the LTN movement, grab some merch from the store. I talked about this already tonight, but in case you just got here, the Ron Plans t-shirts are back in full effect. Those went back onto the site yesterday. So if you haven't copped the Ron Plans shirt, here's another opportunity to be able to do so. That has been a wildly successful shirt to this point. And a lot of people love the shirt. A lot of people want the shirt that didn't get it the first time. Now you have an opportunity to do that. Also, the Mob Squad, hashtag Mob Squad, stand up. We in the building. Mob Squad merch is also available on the site for you guys to be able to purchase hats, shirts. So go to the website printchamps.com/LouieTeeNetwork and cop that merch. All of those links are down in the description for you to be able to shop and get you some merch. With that said, let's get back to the comment section and get to our next super chat. This one is from Colton Pagano Jackson, my guy, CPJ. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, CPJ, who writes, "What's up, Lou? Just checking in. Let's get it this season. Expecting the unexpected with this team. Hashtag Mob Squad." That's right. Stand up. We in the building. We'll see what happens with this team. I'm going in with an open mind, blank canvas, no preconceived notions. I'm going to do the best I can with Fitz if he is the starter with that. Although I do have preconceived notions. I expect turnovers. I expect big plays and turnovers, as do most of you probably out there. But I'm going to wipe the slate clean. I'm going to give everybody an opportunity. This is a new season. I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to show up and show out and do their thing and then react to that. I'm not going to put any expectations or anything like that on anyone. I'm not going to put anybody in a box. I'm going to let everybody go out there and do what they do. And at the end, we'll be able to assess, what they were able to accomplish in the 2021 season. So I'm looking forward to that. And, expect the unexpected. Who thought we were going to win the division at 7-9 last year before the season started? Not I. I'd be lying to you if I told you I thought we were going to make the postseason last year. I just wanted to see what Ron was going to do. Who thought after the first 3 games of the season, remember week 1 was so exhilarating. We were on a high, finally beat the Eagles. They had like this 5 or 6 game winning streak against us, and we snapped that. We spotted them 17, scored 27 unanswered. That was so much fun. And then remember the next 2 weeks at Arizona, at Cleveland. Remember the next 2 weeks of us bowing out, not using timeouts at the end of games, and Ron coming back and talking about he wanted to make sure everybody got out healthy. Remember how frustrating that was? And how everybody was like, uh-oh, what the hell is this? Did we get this shit wrong? And I'm like, guys, relax, pipe down. I don't like this non-competitive shit at the end of games either, and essentially waving a white flag, but we weren't going to win either one of those games. That's still not the way you want to go out. You want to go out competing. But I'm like, we got the right guy. Relax. Who knew that after that start to the season that we would still ultimately win 7 games, rattle off, what was it, 5 straight at one point? Was it 4 straight? It was Cincinnati, Dallas, Pittsburgh, San Francisco. 4 straight. Who thought that would – I mean, we were one of the hottest teams in the league at that point, beating the previously only undefeated team in the league, Pittsburgh Steelers, on the road at Pittsburgh. Like, we were one of the hottest teams. Like, we were feeling so good. And really, it wasn't the Seahawks game that deflated us, even though that ended the win streak. It was the Panthers game where I was like, oh, shit. Well, that was fun, but it all came crashing down. Like, that was the game where I was like, they stink, man. And they've been losing a bunch of close games, and they could have easily been us had they been in a division like ours, but I'm like, we're supposed to beat them at the crib. and we didn't. Obviously Dwayne played and he was horrible, but last year was expect the unexpected. Why not have the same mentality going into this season? I don't think we're at the point yet where we expect to win. Some of you may be. I, however, am not. So I'm just going to go in, no expectations, and see what happens. Let the chips fall where they may, see what happens. I think next year, especially if we get a quarterback, especially if we get Aaron Rodgers or one of these guys that's out here, and then you go in saying, all right, I'm ready to kick some ass, man. I'm ready to kick some ass and take some names. Like, okay, we owe you an ass whooping. We owe you an ass whooping. Oh, yeah, I remember that 31-16. Like, yep, we owe you. Gonna get you back. Yep, I remember that time y'all got us 41-10. Drew Brees night when it was Drew Brees porn on Monday Night Football when he broke the record. So we owe y'all an ass whooping. I'm ready to do that. We ain't there yet, though. We have the Saints on the schedule. I would love nothing more than to pummel the Saints for what they did on Drew Brees porn night 2 years ago. I'm not in a position to call my shot yet. Remember when we got hot in 15? I had a hit list. I rolled that baby out, and I was like, we're going to get Buffalo back. We're going to get the Saints back. We got all the teams back on my hit list, and I scratched them off one by one. Because I knew Kirk was ready. We was ready. We ain't there yet. So I'm with you, CPJ. Expect the unexpected. What the hell? Let's see what happens, man. I don't know. I'm just here to find out. Thank you for the super chat, CPJ. Got another super chat here. This one is from Marcus Bradley. Thank you for the super chat, Marcus. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Marcus writes, hey, Lou. Long time. What's up, Marcus? Long time. We back for another season. Think the team looks better than last year, but what position scares you the most? I think linebackers. You hit it right on the head. You hit the nail right on the head. Ding, 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 ding. If you ask me what aspect of the team scares me the most, I tell you it's punt return because I don't know what they're going to do there. And that was a problem. And it's been a problem going back to the Jamison Crowder days. At least Trey Quinn could field the punt. He wasn't going to run anywhere with it, but he wasn't going to drop it on the ground. So that was a plus. But at some point, you get jaded. You become jaded with just fielding the punt. Now you're like, okay, you look around the league and you see other teams having success with punt returns. Even if it's not a touchdown, it's a 22-yard return. And you're like, well, shit, that flip field position. Even if you go 3 and out, if you fair catch it at the 12-yard line and you go 3 and out and you only gain 5 yards, you're punting from damn near your own end zone. Whereas you get a 22-yard return and you go 3 and out and you picked up 5 yards. Now you're punting from 37. Now you flip field position essentially. With Tressway punting from, his heels on the 21 or so, he's going to boom that baby to the other team's 21-yard line. So field position, in special teams can change a lot of things. We haven't had the luxury of having any kind of success at punt return. So I'm really anxious about that aspect, but the position, it's linebacker for sure. And I don't even know if that's a debatable one for me. I don't have any qualms about any other position like I do linebacker. And again, let me reiterate this. It's not the starters that I'm concerned with, even though I don't know what we're going to get out of Jamin Davis. I have no clue. I'm comfortable enough with the frontline guys. It's if injuries occur and we have to tap into what is very minimal depth, that's when I'm going to become nervous. So, yes. For me, it is the linebacker position. I agree with you, Marcus Bradley. Thank you for the super chat. Got another super chat. This one is from Rob U. Thank you for the super chat, Rob U. Greatly appreciate you, Rob, you, who writes, the chances Moreland and AGG step up. You would have better off asking Moreland or AGG. You want both of them to step up. I would put that at 35% that both of them step up. Now, or like one or the other, I could see that at 65, 70. I told you, I think AGG is going to make the football team. I told you, I thought he was going to have a strong camp this year. Year two, smart dude. Think he gets it. I think it was a slow learning curve for him. He dealt with a myriad of injuries last year, including being banged up in camp. So he didn't get the reps. Remember, there was an abbreviated offseason. He didn't get the reps that he needed. Then he was injured. So that slowed his growth and development. It was a rough year for him last year. Think he's healthy this year. Think he's ready to produce. If he gets hurt again, then he's putting himself behind the 8 ball. But if he stays healthy, I like AGG's chances. Moreland, I think he's going to make the football team. I assess this cornerback situation, but they brought guys in. And the guys that they brought them in specifically to play inside in the slot. So unless they view Jimmy as a guy that can go outside and play with the big boys, Jimmy's going to have to step up, or he could be on the outside looking in. Because they brought 2 guys in particular that are more suited for inside work. So we'll see what happens with Jimmy. But Jimmy wasn't terrible last year, but he definitely is replaceable for sure. So I'll be anxious to see, what Jimmy looks like this year, and probably even more so what AGG looks like this year. I was really excited. You remember how excited I was when we drafted him. So I want to see what he has in terms of ability. Got another super chat. This one is from Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Metaphor. Always showing out. Writes, like button don't cost nothing. That is facts. Free as free can get. Free. But he said, but boy, if my wallet ain't hurting from that subscribe button. Good cause though. My own gang sign would make it worth it. The subscribe button is also free. Now, what you do after you hit the subscribe button, that remains to be seen. But that is also a free button. Free. So, but I know exactly what you're saying. And I truly do appreciate you, Metaphor. Thank you for all of the support. Think that is the last super chat. So what I will do is I've got my top 5. I got my top 5 things that Washington needs to do this year to be successful. My 5 keys, if you will. All right. So what I want to do is get to those. If there are any super chats after that, we'll knock those out. If not, we'll get out of here. Remember, I'm out of the office from after tonight all the way until next Monday. So no Thursday, no Friday, no Saturday, none of that. Hopefully nothing big of note happens because I'll be out of the office. So more likely than not, you won't hear from me in a live capacity if something were to break. I'm glad that all these signings and things of that nature happened while I was still here. Hopefully nothing crazy happens while I'm gone, only practice. And when I come back, we can kind of make up for lost time, catch up on everything, tie up any loose ends that may have kind of happened while we were gone, and then kind of get back in line with everything that's going on, and get back up to speed. So let's go through my 5 keys to success for the upcoming 2021 season. So, number 5, stay healthy, get off to a fast start. So, stay healthy to me goes without saying, because that's an assumption that we all make every year. That's just like saying every game, win the turnover battle. Like, it's just one of those things that it goes without saying. You say it anyway because it needs to be said. But in this sport in particular, every sport really, but in this sport in particular, you need your guys, you need your horses, you need your dogs, your big dogs, the ones that don't just bark but bite on the field in order to have a fighting chance. So staying healthy is half of number 5. The other half of number 5 is get off to a fast start. So I've made note of this because I've looked at the schedule briefly a couple of times. We're going to do it again right now, where I'm going to go over the schedule quickly, and we'll do this at a later date and time in a more intimate setting where we will actually go through the schedule and do the thing that I hate to do, which is predict wins and losses. However, what we're going to do is we're going to look at this schedule real quick. All right. So the first, and I only want to go through the first half of the schedule because that's what's important. I talked about getting off to a fast start. So this is why it's important. Chargers week 1, home. Giants week 2, home. Thursday. So quick turnaround, week 2, home. Giants Thursday. Only game in the division in the first 13 weeks of the season. Bills, road, week 3. Week 4, Falcons, road. Week 5, home for the Saints. In that stretch of ball, let's go over it real quick. Chargers, Giants, home. Falcons or Bills, Falcons, road. Saints, home. In that stretch of ball, first 5 games of the season, first 5 weeks of the season, you can't be any worse than 3-2. You really want to come out of that thing 4-1, honestly speaking. But you can't come out of that any worse than 3-2. You come out of that thing 2-3, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for this season to go sideways. Why? Why do I say that? Let's look at the next 5 games. Week 6, home for the Chiefs. Week 7, at the Packers. Week 8, at the Broncos. You go on a bye week. Week 10, at home against the Super Bowl defending champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So in that stretch of 5 games, you get Mahomes, Rodgers, and Brady. 4 games, I should say. In that stretch of 4 games, 5 weeks, 4 games, because you got a bye week in there. You get Mahomes, Rodgers, and Brady. You could conceivably lose all 3 of those games, maybe win the Denver game. I contend you need to get one of those games, maybe 2 of them, but you need to get at least one of them. 2 of them are at home against Mahomes and against Brady. Those are at the crib. But if you get off to a 2-3 start, and then you go through that 4-game stretch and you go 1-3, well, guess what? You're now 3-6. Now you're in the danger zone. You shouldn't be alone. Whereas if you go 3-2 and you go 1-3 in that stretch, now you're 4-5. You're right there. The next week after the Bucks, you got the Panthers. You could get back to 500 that next week. Win one for Ron. You dropped the last time he's played his old team. You got to win one for Ron. And I think that one might be in Carolina. And it is his first time going back to Bank of America. You could get back to 500. Go have yourself a season. You come out of the gates stumbling at 2-3, 1-4, your season's dead. Because you're not, if you don't have confidence by the time you get to Mahomes in week 6, shit's going downhill anyway. So number 5 is stay healthy. That's number 1. Got to stay healthy, but also get off to a fast start. Got to be 3-2 or better through the first 5 weeks of the season, or you're asking for trouble with those next 4 games. Number 4. Can't play more than 2 quarterbacks the entire season. We can't do what we did last year. We can't do the quarterback carousel where we're going through 3 and 4 different quarterbacks. That's a recipe for disaster. Go look at the teams that win in this league. They're not playing 3 and 4 different dudes. Look, your starter may get injured. You may have to bring another guy in. It happens. Mahomes got injured. They had to bring in Chad Henne in a playoff game last year. We were going to blame it on the Henne if they lost. But he got it done. But you don't want to go to that third dude. We don't need to see 3 quarterbacks. 2 is the maximum. So whether it's Fitzpatrick and Heineke, or Heineke and then Fitzpatrick, or it's Fitzpatrick and then Allen, whatever the case, we don't need to go through all 3 of these guys. I feel confident that all 3 of these guys can get it done, which is a great luxury to have. But I don't want to find out this year. Honestly, you would prefer one guy start week 1 and go all the way through. That's the preference. That may not be the reality, but 2 quarterbacks. That's it. Can't go through any more than that. We start going through 3 dudes and we start playing musical chairs, I feel like shit's going to get ugly. 3. It's 2-parter here. No worse than 4-2 in the division. No worse than 4-2 in the division. That means somebody's got to get swept. Somebody's got to get their ass swept up. Maybe 2 teams. Maybe you get swept by somebody and then you sweep the other 2 teams. That's what we did last year. Swept the Dallas Cowboys, swept the Philadelphia Eagles, and we got swept up by the Giants. I don't want to do that shit this year. We got to beat the Giants. Even if we sweep them and we sweep the Cowboys, but we lose to the Eagles twice, I don't want to do that shit either. Everybody's got to get some. Everybody's got to get a piece of this ass whooping. So somebody's got to get swept up. If we split with Dallas and we split with Philly, but the Giants get the broom this year, so be it. They do for one. But we can't go any less than 4-2 if we're trying to have aspirations of winning this division or even making the postseason. 3-3, you're cutting it close. Anything worse than 3-3, you don't need to go anywhere but home. That's a rule. You don't get to make the postseason if you have a less than 500 record in the division. That's a rule. I don't make this stuff up. I just follow the rules. 4-2 in the division. Okay, that's the first half of number 3. The other half, we play Brady, we play Mahomes, we play Rodgers, we play Wilson, we play Allen. That's 5 of the best quarterbacks in the league. Brady, Wilson, Rodgers, Allen, Mahomes. 5. Of those 5 games, you got to find a way to go at least 2-3 in that stretch of those quarterbacks. 2-3. You got, I don't know how you're going to do it. I don't care how you divvy it up. I would prefer you beat the NFC quarterbacks, because if we get into a tiebreaker situation, they start looking at NFC common opponents. They start looking at conference record. But look, shit, I could care less. I'd love nothing more than to beat Allen and Mahomes and company. 2-3 or better out of those 5 quarterbacks. Now, You could go 4-1 against them. You can't piss that away by losing to Derek Carr and the Raiders, and you can't piss that away by losing to, the Saints and Jameis Winston and Sam Darnold in the Pan. Like, you can't give away these momentous wins by then losing and giving it back by losing to somebody you should beat. That said, we can't worry about that. We can't worry about those games. These are the ones are going to be tough. Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, Allen, Wilson are going to be tough. You know that. I know that. That's 5 games. That's damn near a third of your schedule. If you can't go at least 2-3 in that stretch of games against those quarterbacks, I don't think you're going to have a legitimate shot. You go 1-4 against them, that's 4 losses already. We haven't gotten into division play. There are other teams that are going to be a tough task for us to deal with. You can't afford to lose 4 games out of 5 against those quarterbacks. They're good. Those teams are good. But if we think we're any good, you got to find a way to win a couple of those. Pick 2, any 2. I don't care which 2. Find a way to get at least 2 of them. So 4-2 in the division, and you've got to go at least 2-3 or better against the likes of Mahomes, Rodgers, Brady, Allen, or Wilson. Those 5 quarterbacks are all on the schedule. Got to find a way to win at least 2 of those. Number 2. Last year, we were 25th in the league in points scored. And I want to give a shout out to somebody that brought this up on another show. Charles Hardy, my guy, Charles Hardy, asked a question on my podcast. And I think it was on a social media maneuver. And he just said, hey, how many points do you think we're going to average this year? And I was like, that's a great question. I don't know. Hard to say. A lot of, moving parts, a lot of different factors that go into that equation. And also you got to also factor in the defense, because the NFL doesn't extract defensive touchdowns and things of that nature from points scored per game. Anyway, Charles's question got me to thinking. We were so awful scoring the football last year. I just told you we were 25th in the league. We scored 20.9 points per game last year. So essentially 21 points a game. That's going to get you beat most weeks, by the way. Okay. The rule for me has always been, in order to have a chance, you need to score 24 every game. Anything under 24, you are asking to get beat. I went and did some numbers crunching. I got my crack staff on the numbers. And last year, one of the things we talked about, I remember asking you guys this question very vividly. I said, guys, what did you learn about championship weekend? What did you learn about this team in particular? I remember asking that question. Do you guys remember that? And I think the answer I gave, and I think the answer I heard the most from all of you out there, and I can't remember specifically, I know what I said. The lack of explosiveness is what I gleaned from championship weekend. The 4 teams that were in that game that were left, a lot of you, I remember what a lot of you said. A lot of you said, we need a quarterback. Okay, that's what you guys got from that. You saw Allen versus Mahomes in one conference, and you saw Brady versus Rodgers in the other conference. You was like, we need a quarterback. That's what a lot of you said. I said, we need to be more explosive. I saw 4 teams that in a blink of an eye could score a touchdown from anywhere on the field. At any time, doesn't matter. Brady literally with 7 seconds on the clock before halftime throws a bomb to Scotty Miller for a touchdown right before half. No regard for the clock or anything like that. No regard for the Packers defense. Gets an opportunity, takes it, scores a touchdown. Just like that. Mahomes and company, I think they were down 9-0 against the Bills in their game. Erased that with ease. They started that game out slow. They got a fumble from their returner. What's the receiver from Georgia? I can't think of his name. Fast-ass receiver. He fumbled a punt. The Bills ended up scoring some points off of that. They fell down 9-0, I think, and that's nothing. They ran that down in a heartbeat. I said all of that to say we got to score points. Last year, we got by because we got to play some really bad teams last year, which gave us a chance. We got to play Nick Mullins in the San Francisco 49ers. We got to play the Bengals, who were one of the worst teams, with Joe Burrow. Well, he gets hurt to start the third quarter in a game that they were in, and we get their backup. And we get to destroy him for the remainder of the game and cruise to a 20-9 victory. Was never in doubt once I think it was Finley that came in. Never in doubt when Finley got in there. We knew we had the game at that point. We got to see JMU once. We got to see Andy Dalton for a half, and then JMU came in the second half. Then we got Andy Dalton the second time. We had Jalen Hurts for a game. We got Carson Wentz for a game, and he was struggling. We had some advantageous situations put in front of us. Shit, we had Daniel Jones twice, and we didn't take advantage. We had Teddy Bridgewater. We dropped the ball there. But it allowed our defense to gain confidence. Unfortunately, the offense could not say the same. This year, we have to score points. I'll give you a couple of interesting stats, and then I'm going to tell you how many points it's going to take for Washington to be in the discussion of a postseason team. All 9 playoff teams last year, the top 9 in points scored per game last season, the top 9 teams all made the playoffs. Remember, only 14 teams make it. 9 of the 14 were among the top 9 in scoring. 28.2 points per game or more were those top 9 teams. The final 4 teams in the postseason, Packers, Bucks, Bills, Chiefs, all scored 29.6 points or more. The Packers and the Bucks were among the league leaders. They were up over 30 points a game. I think over 31 points per game. But all 4 of those teams scored 29.6 points or more a game. So damn near 30 a game, essentially. That's not us. That's not what I'm asking us to do. But what I am saying is, in order to have a chance to win double-digit games and make the postseason, we're going to have to score a lot more points than the 20.9 points per game we put up last year. That's not good enough. 20.9 points is going to get us exactly what we got last year. 7-9 last year, 7-10 this year. And I'm telling you, 7 wins isn't going to get us anywhere this year. We got lucky last year. I look at the Miami Dolphins as the perfect blueprint for what we want to do this upcoming year. And it's ironic that we have the quarterback that they had on their roster last year. But to me, they're the blueprint for what we want to do this year. The Dolphins won double-digit games. How did they do that? They won the turnover battle. That's one thing. And they scored 25.6 points a game last year. Now, they still missed the postseason, but that's because they played in a crazy conference. They bring that same 10-6 to the NFC side of the bracket. They're in the postseason. So my number 2 for Washington, score 25.5 points per game. They do that, coupled with the defense we think we're going to be able to play, that should win us double-digit games. 25.5 points per game or more. You got a chance for a big season. That's a whole 5 more points, essentially. 4 and some change, but closer to 5 more points than we scored a season ago per game. And number one, numero uno. I just brought this up, but it bears mentioning again. Mecole Hardman, thank you, Rich, is the name of that Chiefs wide receiver that I couldn't think of that fumbled in the AFC Championship game. Turnover differential. We can't talk about this enough. We talk about it every single game, but we ignore it in the grand scheme of things. Plus or minus. It's a big effing deal, man. That's one of my favorite stats. A lot of people like to throw out these crazy stats. Well, under the last 5 minutes of the game, in a dome, on turf, against the blitz, he's completing passes. His QBR is 107.8. Oh, okay. That's great, man. That's an awesome stat. I don't care about that stat. You can have that stat. You can go play fantasy football with that stat. You know what I care about? This stat right here, turnover differential. You know why? Because this is tried and true. This will never change. This will always be relevant and meaningful. You'll always be able to connect the dots to who makes the postseason and turnover differential. 11 of the 14 playoff teams last year, +4 or better, meaning they had more takeaways, 4 or more takeaways than they did giveaways. So giveaways are when you turn the ball over. That's a minus. And I know a lot of you already understand this, but for some of you, you may not. And takeaways are when you take the ball away from the opposition. Those are pluses. You want more pluses than minuses. 11, let me say that again. 11 of the 14 playoff teams last season were +4 or better. Think about that for a second. Over 80% of the playoff teams a season ago were +4 or better in the turnover differential. You want to know the 3 teams that weren't +3 in the turnover differential? The Bears, who barely got in and promptly were disposed of in wild card weekend. The Rams, who got rid of Jared Goff for that exact reason. He turned it over too much and compromised them on offense. And of course, yours truly, the Washington football team, who promptly were disposed of in wild card weekend at home as well. Every other team in the postseason, +4 or better. That leads me to this point. If Washington wants to have a legitimate shot at making the postseason, whether that's win the division or make it through the back door as a wild card, they've got to be +5 or better in the turnover differential in 2021. And I'm baking into this discussion the fact that Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to turn over the football. So what I'm essentially saying is the defense has to be much better at forcing turnovers than they were a season ago. We didn't force a lot of turnovers. Nobody really talks about that. We didn't have a ton of giveaways last year. Alex Smith, I think, was the quarterback. I take that back. Dwayne, he was giving the shit away at an alarming rate early in the season. I think he might have had like 13 interceptions. Let me see. Let me look up Dwayne Haskins' stats from last year. Because I think Dwayne might have had 13 interceptions, and then he fumbled at least 4 or 5 damn times last year as well. Let's see. No, he only had 7 interceptions. Okay. 7 interceptions. He probably had about 5 or 6 fumbles to go along with those 7 interceptions. But Alex Smith had more interceptions. I think he had like 8 interceptions. We keep talking about Alex Smith takes care of the football. His ass is turning this shit over at an alarming rate for his for what he does, for his standards. He was turning this shit over last year. I think he had about 8 interceptions. He had let's see. He had 8 interceptions. I was right. 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year. So between Alex's 8, Dwayne's 7, and I want to say Kyle Allen, we know he had one against the Giants. He didn't play in very many games. He didn't have one against the Cowboys. He didn't have one against the Rams. He got hurt against the Giants the second time around. I don't think he threw in any interceptions in that game. So he had 1 interception, I think. Kyle Allen, I think he ended up being like 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Let's check. We don't have to guess. I know he threw 2 touchdown passes against the Giants. And then he had another 2, I think, against the Cowboys. But let's just check. No need in guessing. 4 and 1. I'm good at this shit, man. So he had 1. He had 4 touchdowns. That's 13. That's 16. 8 for Alex. 7 for Dwayne. Another 1 for Kyle. That's 16. And then you got to factor in the fumbles. So that's not a lot of turnovers, though, guys. Antonio Gibson wasn't a fumbler. J.D. McKissick wasn't a fumbler. We did have some special teams mishaps, but we didn't turn the ball over a ton. Like, that wasn't a bugaboo necessarily. The defense just didn't force a ton of turnovers. And think about this. We forced a boatload of turnovers in week 1. How many times did we pick Carson Wentz off? 3? And a fumble? I think we forced a fumble and recovered that. We forced, 4 or 5 turnovers in week 1? That was the watermark of the season. That and the 49ers game. You take those 2 games out of the equation, well, shit. How many turnovers did we really force? We forced, 3 against the 49ers? Scoop and score a fumble, a pick 6, and I want to say we forced another fumble. Might have been just 2. Either way, I said all of that to say this. The defense, I'm putting the onus on the defense. Generate takeaways. We know Fitzpatrick, if he plays, he's going to turn the shit over. You've got to not only offset the turnovers that he's going to have, you've got to then exceed that. I'm putting the onus on the defense. +5 or better in the turnover differential category. If we want to be successful, those are my 5 keys to Washington being successful in the upcoming 2021 season. So, all right. If you haven't already done so, I want to go ahead. We got some super chats, so I'm going to get to those here in a second. But if you haven't already done so, I want to encourage you right now to hit the subscribe button for more great content. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And to also be sure to hit the like button. Doesn't cost you anything, doesn't hurt you, but it definitely helps the Louie T Network. Can't thank you guys enough. So with that said, let's get to the comment section. I did see a couple more super chats, so I do want to get to those. And I think this is where we left off, right here. So we're going to start here with my guy, Rob Yu. Thank you for the super chat, Rob. You greatly appreciate you, Rob Yu, who writes, Would you take Payne on a big long-term contract, or Ioannidis and Settle both returning on modest deals? I would take the 2-for-1 on that one. I love Payne, but so here's the thing. Let me stop before I make this statement. Let me quantify this, or qualify this, excuse me. Let me qualify this. If Ioannidis comes back this year and he's at the form that we've come to know and love, meaning he's bagging quarterbacks at an 8.5 to 10.5 sack rate, which is what we've come to know and love from him. I don't think he's eclipsed double digits yet, but he was well on his way last year before the injury, because that's where he was trending. If you look at his numbers, if he gets back to that coupled with what Tim Settle did, I think Tim Settle probably had about 6 sacks last year. Anywhere from 4.5 to 6.5 is where I'm going to put Tim Settle last year. Let's look at Tim, because I remember the penguin dance at least 4 or 5 times last year. It became a thing with Tim Settle to the point where the media was asking him about the penguin dance. He was doing it so damn much. So let's see what Tim Settle did last year. Tim had 5 sacks last year. I knew he was in that 4.5 to 6.5 range. So that's 5 sacks from Tim. You think you're going to get 8.5 from Ioannidis. That's 13 sacks from 2 dudes. Plus they can stop the run a little bit. Whereas with Payne, I love Payne, but he hasn't shown me the ability to do that. What those 2 guys can do combined, he hasn't shown me the ability to do that by himself. We know he's a force in the run game, and we know at times he can be a force against the pass and get after the quarterback. I've said this already. He was our best defender against the Buccaneers in the postseason. The only guy, I think Montez Sweat had a sack of Brady on a play that broke down, and Brady tried to run away and he caught him from the backside. But I think it was Daron Payne that had the 2 real sacks on Brady, I think, or, a hit on Brady that led to something. He was impactful in that game. And a sack. I know he had a sack for sure. How expensive are we talking? And what are modest deals for the other 2? If those 2 deals equal a deal for him, then I would probably just take those 2 guys. If they're still performing at the level that they've been performing at now, you also have to take this into consideration. Now, I've said this already. Tim Settle probably in his mind thinks, I can start somewhere. I'm good enough to start. I don't have to keep playing this backup role where I'm getting table scrap snaps. I can go somewhere. I just got 5 sacks in a season where I was probably playing, 35% of the snaps, maybe 35, 40% of the snaps, if that. I got 5 sacks. Expand my role and I might could get you double digits. He's probably thinking that to himself. So I don't know if you'll get that, these guys coming back, but to your point and in your hypothetical, I would probably take Ioannidis and Settle because they're both still young. Ioannidis probably getting up there. I guess he's around 27, 28, but Settle's extremely young. He's still probably every bit of 25 years old or so right now. Let's check and see how old Matt Ioannidis is. I'm going to guess he's 20. I'm going to guess he's 20. I'm going to put him at 28. He's probably 27 or 28. He's 27. I should have stuck with my first instinct, which was 27. He's 27. And I bet you Tim Settle's 25. Let's look up Tim Settle's age. I bet you he's 25. He's 24. His birthday just happened July the 11th. So he's a young pup. I knew he was super young coming out of Virginia Tech. I didn't think he was that young. He's 24. So you re-up on those 2 dudes. You could get one more contract out of both of them at a very high level. I'd probably take Ioannidis and Settle returning on modest deals, whatever that means, over a big long-term contract for Payne. It's just a 2-for-1 special. That's all it is. 2 over 1. And you know what you're getting out of those 2 guys. And you feel like that's more than enough to supplement what you'll get out of the one guy, yeah, you do that. So, but if Payne, and let me again qualifying that statement, if Payne balls out this year, gets 11 sacks and is dominant, no, I'd take Payne back in a heartbeat. So, but I don't see that happen. Let me say that as well. So thank you for that super chat, Rob. You got a super chat here from Tizzy Bang. Thank you for the super chat, Tizzy Bang. Greatly appreciate you. Tizzy Bang writes, what's the chances the team changes to DC or DMV blank? My dad says that would be his last straw, but I like the idea. So it's not out of the question. I've brought this up before because I've heard this in other places that DC could get statehood. And if they do get statehood, then the team, the nickname Washington wouldn't really apply, because more likely than not, if they get statehood, it wouldn't be Washington, DC. It would just be either the district or it'd be something else, because there's already a state named Washington. So that's the thought. I could be wrong on that, but I still don't think DC gets statehood. But there's been a push of late for it, and the conversation has been moving forward, more recently, to where it's a real thing. Like, it could become reality. And I think they want to also kind of take that into consideration when they name this team. But I think right now, all of the branding that they've done has been surrounded by Washington. Like, everything is concentrated around Washington being the center of what they've been promoting. I don't know if that changes. I don't anticipate that changing, but I wouldn't be shocked if it did. I don't see DMV being the name, like them doing DMV anything. It'd be DC something, or it's going to stay Washington, fill in the blank. So I understand where your dad is coming from, because he never thought he'd see the Washington Redskins go away in his lifetime, especially after Daniel Snyder said, I will never, in all caps, change the name. You never thought you'd see it change. And really, everything was kind of pointing in the direction of not changing the name, with all the polls that had come out and all the things that have been done kind of supporting the name. I didn't think we were going to have to change the name either. But then, some shit happened. A lot of shit happened. But the George Floyd was the last straw. It really was. So anyway, I digress. Gunny Man, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Gunny Man, writes, special teams, D-Hop can't be missing easy field goals or extra points, and return game needs to be an asset, not a liability. I couldn't agree with you anymore. That, to me, is what I've been stressing, and why it is of the utmost importance that we figure out who the hell is going to return punts for us. At this point, I think I've regressed back to, hey, just find me a dude that can catch it. I think that's why I was so enamored with Danny Johnson. Remember when Danny Johnson had that little, right before the bye week, we had the injury. Remember, your boy was injured. Steven Sims Jr. was injured. And they were playing around with different guys. Stroman started out the season back there. He got injured, I think, week 1 against Philadelphia, never came back. I think they experimented with Isaiah Wright back there. And then they finally settled in on Danny Johnson, because at worst, he was going to at least catch it. And, that Cowboys game, the first one, was in some pretty poor conditions. It was wet and nasty out on the field. And I thought Danny, he caught the hell out of the football, ran up and caught a couple of them in some less than desirable situations, I was like, I'm loving Danny back there. I don't know for what reason they took him off of punts and they just kept him on kickoffs. But, as soon as Steven Sims came back, they took, which I got, he was the original punt returner before his injury. So I got that. But once he started struggling, once he started muffing punts and fumbling and stupid shit like that, go back to Danny. They never did. But they know better than I. They're at practice every day. I'm at the point now where I'm like, man, I would love a guy that's a threat back there to return it, and take it the distance. But at this point, just give me a dude that's just going to catch it, not have to worry about him making the wrong decision and getting blasted and fumbling the ball. Fair catch it when you need to fair catch it. If you're not comfortable, fair catch it. If your heels are on the 10-yard line, let that shit go over your head. Make all the right decisions that you're supposed to as a return man. I'm kind of at that point now. Look, just give me the bare minimum. I'll take the bare essentials. Just somebody that's not going to turn it over. Get an offense a chance. Don't put the defense in a compromising situation. And then D-Hop has to be better. That's my guy. So I'm going to protect D-Hop. A lot of y'all came for that man's neck. Literally had the sharpest knife in your drawer at the man's jugular last year. And I was like, hey, D-Hop, you miss another kick. I can't stop them. I'm keeping the mob off for as long as I can, but you can't keep missing, bro. You got to help me. Help me. Work with me, bro. And then he got hot. And he started making kicks. And then he had that little spell again where he started missing kicks. But all in all, he was pretty good down the stretch. So I just need him to be more consistent. Really, what I want is for him to not only be consistent, but take that next step. We keep talking about how big his leg is, this, that, and the third. Well, when's the last time this brother made a 54-yard field goal? If they trot him out there, I'm like, he going to miss the shit. It ain't going to be short neither. This ain't Kai Forbath where you like, hey, it look good, but he ain't got enough leg. No, he's going to have plenty of leg. The shit's going to hit the net. It was good from 59. It just off to the left or the right. Like, it's too many kickers in this league that's booming it, and it's nothing from 56. Easy money. Like, the coach is like, bro, we get past midfield, and we get one more first down, we in field goal range. I'm not comfortable in field goal range till we get to the 30. That's not how it's supposed to work in the NFL anymore. You get to the 35, you in comfortable field goal range. A 52-yarder with these kickers and how well they kick the football, that's supposed to be easy money. Not with Dustin Hopkins' ass. Anything from 49 and 40, I call that the money distance. Oh, I trust Dustin. 100%. 100%. Anything 50 or above, I'm like, he going to miss this shit. And it ain't leg. That's the problem for me. It's not the leg. It's the accuracy. I bet you he was like 1 of 4 or 1 of 5 from 50 last year. I'm about to check now. I'm curious now. Let's look up Dustin Hopkins stats from last year. Let's get him from 50 to 51. Last year, Dustin was 2 of 4 from 50 plus last year. The year before that, he was 2 of 3. The year before that, he was 4 of 5. So in his career right now, he is 13 of 25 from 50 yards or beyond. That's piss poor. The man is literally 50%, just slightly above 50% from 50. Let's cross-reference him with another good kicker. Not a great kicker. I'm not going to go to Justin Tucker. That's not fair. Let's go to another kicker that's been in the league. Trying to think of somebody that would be comparable. Been with the same team for a number of years. Let's go to Mason Crosby. Been with Green Bay. He had a rough year like 3 years ago. The Packers almost got rid of him. Rodgers told management, don't get rid of him. He was outstanding last year. really solid kicker. Let's go to Mason Crosby and see what he talked about. Mason Crosby was 4 of 4 from 50 yards last year. Mind you, this dude is probably every bit of 40 years old. If he ain't 40, he like 38, 39. In his career, he's 39 of 70. That's well over 50%. Let's get the percentage on that. 35 would be 50%. So he's got to be close to the 60% range over the life of his career. It's 55%. So that's not too bad. It's not that far off of where Dustin is. Dustin's probably right around 52%. 13 of 20. What was it? Was it 29? It wasn't 29. 29, it wasn't that bad. Let me check one more time. I don't think it was 13 or 29. I think it was 26. It's like 13 to 25. Yeah, so it's slightly over, just about 52%. Yep, 52%. So I said all of that to say this. He was 2 of 4 last year. I didn't feel like he made 2. I thought he made 1. Whatever the case may be, we need him to be better, period. I think he made less than 80% of his kicks last year. Let's check real quick. Last year, he made 79.4% of his kicks. He made 93.8% of his extra points. He only missed 2 extra points. I say only, but when you're in a game like the one against Seattle and that missed extra point forces you to go for 2, which you don't get it because we didn't get a single 2-point conversion last year, and then you get in a field goal range, but because you missed an extra point and then had to go for 2 and you didn't get that, you're down 5 instead of 3. I say he only missed 2, but in the context of that game, you could argue that missed extra point cost us an opportunity to win that football game. So 30 or 32, though, in the reality of the situation, that's pretty damn good for extra points, being that you kick them from essentially 33 yards away. You should make 90% of them, which he did. But the 79.4% made field goals. He got to make more than that. You know, the good kickers in this league are making it at an 86% or higher clip on a consistent basis. And he's been that for the most part in his career. His first year, he was 89.3%. His second year, he was 81%. The third year, he was 82.4%. The fifth year, he was 89.7%. That's what I want him to get back to. Remember, I said we need to get him back to what he was doing 3 years ago. That year, he was damn near automatic. He only missed 1 extra point that year. He was 96% on extra points, and he was 26 of 29 in field goals that year. And that was the year I think he was 4 or 5 from 50. Yep, he was 4 or 5 that year. That's the Dustin Hopkins I fell in love with. That's the guy that I go to bat for. That's the guy that I'm turning the mob away with pitchforks and torches. That's the guy that I'm trying to protect. Not the guy that last year made it at a 79.4% clip and missed 2 extra points. So I'm with you, Gunny, man. He's going to have to step his game up. We need every single point. When you play Mahomes and Rodgers and Allen and Wilson and company, you can't leave points on the scoreboard. Can't leave them there. Thank you for that super chat. Got another one here from Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you, Metaphor. My guy, Metaphor, writes, 4 of those 5 quarterbacks we faced were in the conference championship last year. Exactly. We know what the schedule is. We know what the schedule is. No, I don't know if anybody's faced a schedule quite like the one that's on tap for us. We know what it is. We know what it is. And again, that's not including some of the other quarterbacks that we think are really good in this league, but not in that caliber. You know, 4 out of the 5 guys that I mentioned that you just talked about were in a conference championship, their respective conference championships a year ago. The one guy that wasn't was Wilson. We know he's damn good. You still got Justin Herbert, who we think is a young up-and-coming phenom. We'll find out week 1 what he's all about. Hopefully, shit. He can pick up where he left off after week 1 for all I care. But hopefully we catch him early in the season and we catch him slipping. That's the hope. But the young fella looks like he's got it. Derek Carr. I know a lot of you like, I don't like Derek Carr. That's fine. Derek Carr is a good quarterback in this league. Matt Ryan, former league MVP. All of these dudes are on the schedule. Okay? So it's just not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. We know what the schedule is. We got to find a way to win some of these games, man. It ain't going to be easy, but you want to be a good team. You want to make the postseason. You got to beat good teams in this league. You can't just feed off of the little sisters of the poor and expect to make it to the postseason. We don't have that luxury this year. We want to make the playoffs. We're going to have to win against perceived good teams. Thank you for that super chat metaphor. Got a super chat from Condoleezza Perry, my girl Condo Perry, my girl Condo P. Writes, kind of surprised Landon Collins will start training camp on the active roster and not the pup list. Makes the safety battle very interesting. And I'm glad you brought that up because I meant to bring that up when I finished all of these lists. I was supposed to finish that by saying, you know what name was conveniently omitted off of this list and maybe even surprisingly to a degree? Landon Collins. So Landon Collins not being on this list was a surprise to me, but it wasn't when I kind of play back all of the things I've been seeing from him on socials. Every post of him on socials is of him running, cutting, jumping at the rate of speed and at the level that you expect for someone to be ready at the start of training camp. He said, and you don't usually hear this from guys who aren't sure. Like Saquon Barkley was like, yo, I'm gonna listen to my body. When you hear that, oh nah, you ain't getting no camp, you ain't getting no preseason, you ain't getting none of that. When you hear guys say, yeah, I'm gonna listen to my body, that means I'm taking it nice and slow. You didn't hear that from Landon Collins. He said the goal is to be ready for camp. That's what he said. And I believed him when he said it because every video that he posted of him working out was of him running, jumping, and cutting and stopping and planting and driving on that leg. So I'm like, it looks good. So I'm not surprised. Just a wee bit, but not really. But as you said, Kondo, it does make the safety battle very interesting. I don't think there's really a battle at strong safety. I think the real competition is at free safety. What are they going to do there? And because I think they're going to find ways to get all these guys on the field. Cam Curl and Landon Collins and Shays or Jeremy Reeves, whomever. They're going to find ways to get, three safeties on the field. That big nickel we talked about, whether it's Khaleke Hudson playing that big nickel or it's Cam Curl playing that big nickel. Even Landon Collins may be getting a piece of that action in that big nickel from time to time. They're going to find ways to get those guys on the field. So we'll see what happens. I think there are going to be a lot of interesting developments and battles throughout camp. And safety may be one of them. That is for sure. Got a super chat from Tony P56. Thank you for the super chat, Tony P56. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes? You almost made me choke on my wine, man. Chill. Stop. Tony P56 says, Ramon is clearly winning the turnover battle tonight. Is he really? He's making his appearance. That's for sure, man. I don't know if he started out the night that far out or if he just continues to creep out even further and further. He's getting long though, man. I know y'all haven't really seen it. Maybe you have if you watch the podcast, but that brother's down here now, man. He's down here the base, the bridge of my nose, man. Like that brother's acting up. So yeah, I guess you could say he's winning the turnover battle tonight. Y'all are stupid, man. I swear. Got another super chat here from Donald Gray. Thank you for the super chat, Donald Gray. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Donald writes, "You the man, Louie. Thank you. Hashtag Ron's plan." No, you the man, Donald. Man, I really do appreciate you and all of you guys out there. Really do appreciate all of the support you show me here on the Louie T Network. Got another super chat, it looks like. Got a few more super chats. Okay, I do. So let's take those. This next one is from Red Wings 01. Thank you for your third super chat of the night, Red Wings 01. Greatly appreciate you. Red Wings 01 writes, "Brief thoughts on Malik Hooker going to Dallas." I talked about that on the positional ranking safety video, but I can talk about it here again. No problems. I'm jealous. I'm going to be honest with you. He's 25. He's had a myriad of injuries, and that's been the story of his career. The guy is super talented. He was a top 10 pick in the draft for a reason, and I wanted to be the team to kick the tires. I've already stated that. It wasn't going to hurt us to add him to the mix if he checked out physically. If you had your medical team give him a physical and assess him and he checked out, I didn't see the downside to bringing Malik Hooker on board. You know, it can only help. It couldn't hurt. If he stinks, you get rid of him. You're not signing him to a lucrative deal with a bunch of guaranteed money. He's essentially going to play to prove that he belongs in this league. And I hate the fact that he's getting that opportunity with Dallas. So I like the move for the Cowboys because they stink at the safety position. I am not impressed with what they have back there on the back end. He clearly goes in there and he's going to have an opportunity to compete right away. They don't have a lot back there. So he's going to have a chance in Dallas to revive his career. I was rooting for him before. I'm not rooting for him now. He's with Dallas. But I like the move. I again, much like the Giants, both of the players that I wanted Washington to take a flyer on that were low risk, high reward propositions landed in the NFC East. If you guys recall, I wanted to take a flyer on John Ross. He signed with the Giants for 1 year, $2.5 million. I'm like, we couldn't have done that. I wanted Malik Hooker. I don't know the terms of his agreement. I'm pretty sure they're meager, okay? I'm pretty sure there isn't much guaranteed money in there for him. So it's a 1 year prove-it deal more likely than not, and he's going to have a chance to go in there and compete. I think it's a great move for him. I think it's a great move for Dallas. I hope it doesn't work out for Dallas, though. I'm rooting for Malik Hooker, but he's with the wrong team. But it's a good move for all parties involved, honestly. They need help at safety. He needs another chance, and he's going to a team that needs help at safety. So he'll probably get that chance. Thank you for the super chat, Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat, Gunny Man. Double up. I think that's a double up, might be a triple up. Really do appreciate you, Gunny Man, who writes, F Dallas. I said it. Well said. F Dallas. I concur. Not much more needs to be added to that. Yeah. Yeah. Tony P56. Thank you for the super chat. Double up. I think that's double up. Might be a triple up. Really do appreciate you, Tony P56, who writes, I had to do it, LOL. But seriously, Lou, thank you for all you do for us fans. Have you thought about a bold prediction for Fitz's touchdown to interceptions ratio? A bold prediction? I don't think it's all that bold. If he plays all 17, these are the numbers I came up with in my head. His career high for touchdowns is 31. He did that back in 2015 with the Jets. In that same season, I believe he had 15 interceptions to go along with those 31 touchdowns. So that's a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. With him, you probably sign up for that because he's more of a 1.5 to 1 type of touchdown to interception ratio guy. So 2-to-1, you probably take that with him. I was thinking in that same ballpark touchdowns, somewhere in between 29 and 32. So I was going to go 31 again, tie his career high. And I was going to reduce the interception total because I'm trying to be optimistic to 13. Now you're getting into that nearly 3-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. You're not quite there, but you're getting close. You're in that 2.5, 2.5 to 1, touchdown interception ratio. You're getting closer to that 3 number, which is where you want to be for a quarterback. Anything north of 3-to-1, and you're doing the damn thing. So, I'm thinking 31 and 13. He does that, we got a shot. And that's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm asking for. Thank you for the super chat, Tony P. 56. Got another super chat. This one is from Metaphor as well. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. Really do appreciate you, Metaphor. My guy, Metaphor, writes, 2 of your must-haves possibly solved with D-Hop's field goals, extra points for 5 points. Special teams not fumbling for +5 turnovers, strong start, make field goals against those 5 quarterbacks. You're going to have to make field goals, but you got to score touchdowns against Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers, Wilson, and company, and Allen. You got to score touchdowns, man. I just told you those teams were averaging damn near 30. I know for a fact the Packers and the Bucks were averaging up over 30. I think both of them might have been averaging up over or right at 31 points a game. And the Chiefs were at the bottom of that group at 29.6. I want to say the Bills were averaging over 30 as well. I think they were like 30.6. The Chiefs were at 29.6. And then I think both the Packers and Bucks were up over 31. Translation, you ain't kicking field goals and beating those teams. You know my mantra and my motto. Field goals don't win games, touchdowns do. You want to kick field goals, go right ahead. You ain't field goaling Mahomes and Rodgers and Allen to death, though. Them boys know how to put it in the end zone. So while D-Hop does need to make his kicks, because that does kill momentum, even if you don't come away with a touchdown, you need to come away with something. Them boys on the other side, they don't give a damn about your field goals. They laugh at your field goals. Oh, you kicking a field goal? Oh, okay. All right, that's cool. That's real cute. They're going to get 7 though. So I'm going to definitely say D-Hop needs to make his kicks. We put him out there. We need those points. We can't afford to come away with nothing. But I feel like getting off to a fast start is important because of the schedule, as I've laid out for you guys. But the turnover thing is the biggest. That's why it's my number 1 on the list, because to me, that's a season-long thing. Getting off to a fast start is great, but it's not a necessity. You could get off to a slow start and still overcome it. I mean, we did that. Now, again, we overcame it to a 7-9, but at one point, think about this. This never crossed my mind when we were in the midst of starting off the season 1-5. After that debilitating loss on the road at the Giants to drop us to 1-5, you would have never gotten me to think or utter the words, we have a chance to get back to 500. At no point in the season that I think those words would ever be able to be formed with my lips to come out of my mouth. But yet, after we beat the 49ers to go on a 4-game win streak. I looked up and I said, well, I'll be damned. All we got to do is win 2 out of our final 3 games, and we make it to 500 at 8-8. Who would have knew? Who would have thought that this was possible? If we would have beat Seattle, we would have been back at 500 at 7-7. I didn't think we were going to beat Seattle, especially with Dwayne playing. However, I said, shit, why not? I figured we beat Carolina, and then if we beat Philadelphia, which I thought we were going to do, which we ultimately did, we get back to 500 and beat 8-8. Who would have thought that we could have made it to 8-8 from 1-5? And then I'll take it a step further. We were 2-7 after losing to Detroit in heartbreaking fashion. We were 2-7. Who thought that at 2-7 we'd ever be 1 game away at 6-7 from getting to 500? So you can overcome a slow start, but that schedule isn't this schedule. Okay. This schedule is different. You start slow, you might be digging yourself a hole that you cannot crawl out of. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it makes it a lot tougher. So D-Hop needs to make his kicks. I agree. We got to get off to a fast start, and we got to take care of the ball, and we got to create turnovers. I don't think we created enough turnovers. I don't think enough people talked about us not creating enough turnovers. I don't think, because we had some games where the output from a turnover perspective was so great that I think people lost sight of the fact we weren't creating turnovers at a high level. So I think that's something we need to do this year. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. Got another super chat from Gunny Man. Greatly appreciate you, Gunny Man. My guy, Gunny Man, writes, he misses in times that hurt. Absolutely. And really, there isn't a good time to miss a kick. I can give you one time this year where last year where he missed a kick, and I was like, I don't really care, but I care. Like, it was the Dallas game. We were up 25-3. And he had a chance to make it 28-3. 28 looks a lot better than 25. 25 is a weird, awkward number that you should really never hit in an NFL game unless you're trying really hard to not hit, 30. And so 28, you make that field goal and something crazy happens and you got a chance to hit 30. And that's what I was aiming for. But 28-3 sounds a lot better than 25-3. 25-3 is weird. So he missed the field goal late against Dallas. And I think it was like 5 or 6 minutes left in the game when he missed. So I was like, we may get another possession, and depending on what Dallas decides to do, we might be in field goal range again, and we might be able to get 30. Oh, he killed that shit when he missed. And that was one of those, whatever, we're going to win. But come on, bruh. Make the damn kick. There aren't many times, though, that I feel that way. When he misses, they're usually huge misses. You can go all the way back to 2016 when he missed against Dallas a couple of times on Thanksgiving in a shootout that we lost against Dallas on Thanksgiving. Obviously, the Detroit game comes to mind. Kirk leads us down the field with a read option keep that he runs for a touchdown. Stafford comes right back down the field and guts us for the game-winning score. But you also had a Matt Jones. Who? Matt Jones fumble at the 1-yard line. Talk about pissing me off. But D-Hop missed the kick in that game. Obviously, the Cincinnati game over in London might be the biggest kick he's missed in his career to this point. That was a chip shot that was a big game in London. Gotta have that one. We make the playoffs if we win that game. Anyway, you're right. He misses kicks in critical, crucial situations. There aren't many that aren't critical, because even when you miss a kick, let's just throw out this scenario. You miss an extra point in the first quarter. It's 6-0 after you score a touchdown. As a fan, don't you say to yourself, well, that point's going to come back to haunt us at some point. Even though at that time it's not a big deal, it's 6-0 early in the game. You got plenty more possessions. That may not make or break the game. You got plenty of possessions to overcome that. As a fan, the psyche of a fan, you're saying to yourself, that point's going to come back to haunt us. We're really going to regret that. We're going to have to go for 2. We're going to have to chase a point, similar to the Seattle game, where you're going to find yourself having to chase a point because you missed the extra point. Now you got to try to make up for it, and you don't get that. Now you really find yourself in a bind. Or you just got to go for 2 late. You're down 8 instead of down 7. Now you got to go for 2, and we didn't convert a single 2-point conversion last year. So, yeah, he missed some critical kicks, man. I agree with you on that for sure. He's got to make his kicks, period. All right. I got another super chat. This last one here is from Donald Gray. Thank you for doubling up. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Donald Gray. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Donald Gray writes, shout out to the super chatters and the whole Louie T fam. Really appreciate all of you. I echo those sentiments from Donald. I couldn't imagine doing this without the support of you guys. And trust me, I'm doing my other channel right now, Card Collector Series, and I'm starting from the ground up. And it's taking me back to when I first started this channel. So I know what it's like to have nobody watching and to feel like you're doing content in vain. So it doesn't feel good, by the way. So saying that, that's why I tell you guys all the time how much I truly appreciate you guys, because you guys make this worth doing. Without your support, without you guys watching and divulging the resources, whether it be from a financial or monetary standpoint, or just your time and your energy watching these videos, commenting, all of those things help to push this channel forward. Without all of your time, energy, and resources, this ceased to exist. This ceased to exist. You know how players talk about the energy that the fans give them, you know, late in the ball game, they're tired and the fans get involved and they're chanting defense or they're making a bunch of noise. And that's the last bit of adrenaline that they need to push them forward to get across the finish line and get the win. That's how you guys are for me. You're that extra fuel I need when a video needs to get done or something needs to be put out for consumption and I don't feel like doing it. I just think about all of the energy and the resources you guys pour into the Louie T Network. And that's what keeps me going and says, you know what? I may be a little tired, but I got to do this real quick. So I really do appreciate y'all more than y'all probably know. So with that said, that's probably a great note to end the show on, but I do see another super chat. This one is from Tony P56. Thank you for the super chat, Tony P56, and tripling up. Greatly appreciate you, guy. My guy, Tony P56, writes, the Washington Wallabies. That is all. And I had me a pair of all sky blue Wallabies in middle school. Them shits was comfortable and you couldn't tell me a damn thing. I was smooth. I was smooth with them joints on. Some of y'all, most of y'all don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. What the hell is a wallaby? Oh, man. I digress. Anyway, I thank you guys for joining me tonight, man. That was a great show. I'm going to head off to vacation now. Be on the lookout for content every day. If anything big happens and I am able, I will, jump on my cellular device and try to make something happen. But more likely than not, I'll be unavailable. So hopefully nothing major happens. But I'll be back on Monday. But there will be content. The Louie T Network will not go dark. There will be content every single day for you to consume while I'm gone. So I look forward to chopping it up with y'all when I come back, because shit gets real tomorrow. Practice is actually practice, not a game, but practice. Yeah, practice is tomorrow. I'm glad they're not having any padded practices until I come back. I am happy about that. But anyway, you guys take care. Remember, I am a Washington fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to our beloved Washington football team. If you guys are out there, I want you to do me a huge solid and make sure that you hit that subscribe button for more great content. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss a thing, and hit the like button. It does not cost you anything. With that said, I'm going to glide to the side, allow you guys to enjoy the rest of your evening and your week. Get off the bench, get in the game, and kick it with me, your man Louie T. Until next time, which it will be a while, you guys take care. Stay safe. I'll try to do the same. God bless, and good night.
LouieTeeNetwork.